Hey, shorties. Fucking delight, huh? Oh, just got demonetized. Hey, welcome. Good to see you all here. Who've we got in the house? We've got Sarah and Shark and Horror. Spacey Stacy. I see JFK in the house. James Jackson in the house and backstage. Turd Ferguson. Adam. Hey, babe. Ernie Birdie. What else we got? Thank you so much for being here. It's amazing to see you all on a Thursday night, random. Lucinda. Let me pop a few things up on stage. Coco. Lovely. JFK, go. Right on, JFK. Let's do this. Let me just pop this down here. So welcome. I've made, first of all, let me just say, rookie error. Just realized when my intro song was playing. Actually, by the way, thank you so much to Melissa Asylum, aka Turd Ferguson, for writing and creating that amazing intro for me. And then my guy Adam Drives Helen for making the amazing Wicked video to go along with it. So wow, here we got Janine, thanks for coming. Kelly, amazing. So, but my rookie error, I left my vape somewhere. Like I might have to leave James on stage for a second while I find them, because this is not how I can roll at all, not without any anxiety. So here we are. We are doing, well, Let's Talk is the series. Hi, Buster. And that's Buster. We went for a big walk this morning. I was hoping they would go easy on me, but here he is already, very needy. So my Let's Talk series is all about opening and starting conversations about things that perhaps people don't necessarily find comfortable to talk about, difficult conversations. And so we've done some stuff on addiction. Yes, thanks for subscribing, Jaya. Amazing to see you here. Thank you for coming along. So addiction, homelessness, domestic abuse and coercive control, and then grief is the latest sort of bunch of Let's Talk series episodes that I've been covering. And I think that basically anything that has touched me in my life, I would like to, yes, Buster, including Buster, I would like to start those conversations. So everybody here, I'm sure, knows JFK Showoff and his incredible, ever insightful, always delightful co-host James Jackson. And about a month ago, I guess, James mentioned on air that he had experienced some pretty traumatic stuff in terms of the loss of his beautiful girlfriend Lauren almost 12 months ago. And that's, for me, I lost my husband 21 years ago. So straight away, I thought it would be quite an amazing conversation to have with James, to talk to him about how he's worked through the journey of grief in the last 12 months, how it's affected him. I just thought, in comparison to me, with sort of over 2 decades of grief and how that looks for me. If you haven't already watched, I have episode 1 and episode 2 of grief. The first one was just me going through the 7 stages of grief, and we will actually probably, James did his homework without me asking him to. Anyway, let me stop talking. You're not here to hear me talk. James Jackson. Hey.
Hey, Shorty.
How you going? Good to see you. Instead of just me in chat or you in chat, here we are face to face.
You can have my vape.
Oh, wow.
I know the fit. Definitely.
So at some point, maybe I'll just I literally when the intro song was on, I was like running around going ah. Didn't find them, of course. Anyway, I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm not even addicted to the nicotine or the vaping process at all.
Hmm.
Uh, all right. So James, we were talking backstage a little bit there, and you did mention that you're coming up to a pretty tough anniversary. But can we wind it back a little bit and talk about your beautiful girlfriend Lauren and I mean before she passed even, or is that am I cracking it too early?
Well, no, I mean, I guess it's part of the healing process. You want to talk about the grief and how I'm doing with it, and so Lauren was great. She always, she was like a RN, but she went to people's homes. She was like a caretaker, and she became more family with these people. And I used to always have to pull her home, like, babe, you're done working. What are you doing there cooking their meals and their food for their family? I'm home, like, waiting for you. We're supposed to go out. We have plans. And that's just the type of person she was. She always cared about the next person. And it's funny you asked that because this morning I was talking with my mom over the phone because she said she had a dream about Lauren. And my mom said to me, I just wish that Lauren cared about herself as much as she did about everybody else. And I was like, whoa, that was that's that's how she was though. She cared about everybody, you know.
She sounds like she was a really special person. That's a really unique quality for anyone to have.
Yeah, she was great. But
So,
her struggles early on, when I had first met her, she had just lost her daughter of 6 months past,
mm,
and she picked up alcohol at a young. She passed at a young age. She was 34. Um, but after her daughter passing, she just started picking up alcohol to deal with it and cope with that. And then we met, and it was like it was great. We fell in love, so it was like she felt comfortable again. She put the alcohol down, and then she kind of went through another battle I really don't want to speak about. She had with family, and she started drinking again, and this time I couldn't help her. And that's the thing. People say, you did everything. You gave her dignity. You saved her life. And I'm like, I didn't though. I didn't save her life because I was the one who found her, and that's why they would say that to me. But to get back to Lauren, she was great. She was a great person.
how long were you together, you and Lauren?
Almost would have been coming up on 3 years. Well, it would have been 4 years if she was still alive. We were together for 3 years.
Yes, yes.
But we were best friends prior to being together too. She was my best friend. I never would have thought she would have been the girl I would have spent the rest of my life with. Like we would go, she would call me and be like, "Can you go to Stop and Shop with me? I gotta go get some like just something while she was cooking." And all right, let's go. I'd take a ride with her. Yeah, she was awesome, and I miss her a lot. It's so I'm just still going through the healing process, and we'll speak more on that, like you said. But yeah,
So, yeah, I just would like to go back. Did you say your mom had that dream last night? You were just talking to her
yeah, she
today?
called me. She called me this morning, and she said, and we were talking, and it just came up. It comes up a lot in the family conversations. Whether I got three sisters, I come from a big family background. Um, so when I brought, my girlfriends come around my family. JFK, what up? That's my man.
Yes, he is.
JFK, he helped me get through this tremendously. Um, I was at a dark place, and like he said, if you go to look at it, I think it was one of our last lives or the live before, how we went out to New York, and I didn't want to go, and he was like, "Just get in the fucking car and go," like, and I'm so glad I did. And me and him have our talks, and we have our spiritual talks, and we believe in God. We have this, and my faith. That's a part of my healing process right now. Um, it's brought me closer to God. It's brought me closer to my faith, my belief, and without that, without my son, I also have a son. These are beautiful things in life. So yeah.
Were you did so you were you had faith and a relationship with God before Lauren passed, or
Um, I did. I've always had a relationship with God, but it was not the last trip we went, but the trip prior. There's actually a video I made at JFK, and you guys would never know what we were saying in the video because I put music, but we were talking about basically. I mean, I know he ain't gonna mind if I say this. You see him say to me, "Do you take Jesus Christ like to be your Lord and Savior?" And I said, "I do." Like, yes, there it is. Boom, you in the game, And that would, and I felt this light. I can't explain it. And I was saying it to him the other night. I said, you know that feeling that we get, and only people that have real belief will get that feeling. I believe if you don't have never had that feeling, it will come. You just gotta believe that you know that God is real.
so can you explain to people how Lauren passed away? Because I'm sure they're probably, that will
So
help.
the alcohol, um, to get back to that, she started picking up the alcohol again, and it started getting really bad. You know, few detoxes later, she uh, she would try off and on, and her liver was just getting worse and worse. Like each doctor appointment we go to, they say to her, we'll put you on the list for a liver transplant, but you got to prove to us that you can stay sober for 6 months. And I would say, babe, just show them you can do this. And she would get like 3 months, and she would slip 4 months, and then she would slip, and it just kept happening. I'm like watching it happen, and that's another thing. To watch it happen was hard, and that's why I have so much regret, because I would get so mad at her. Not mad, but disappointed that she was so close to doing it. And I would kind of think, what am I doing? I'm taking time to be around somebody that's just drinking, and I'm not doing this. Like, this isn't my. But then we start becoming drink, and now I'm drinking. I don't drink like this. So you know, I just wish there was more I could have done, but it was alcohol. Her liver shut down, um, and 4 days I was gone. I come back, and she was in the same. I knew when I was gone that, because she calls me whenever we would be in New York. She'd be calling me nonstop, and I'd say, "Listen, you can't keep calling me. It doesn't look good that you keep calling me. I'm not. I promise you, I'm not like, because we're around people that are, they're celebrities. People look up to them. They're artists. They're Wu Tang. We're talking about just different people that people look up to. I'm not gonna sit here and name drop everybody, but um, so my point was, I just got off the subject.
So you would
Um,
get like the
I'm
drinking.
sorry. What was I?
So you were she was calling and calling, and there was those 4
Oh,
days.
yeah. So she was calling. So for the 4 days she wasn't. So when I got back to Boston, the first thing I did, right to the house, and she's in the same spot in the bed that when I left. So
Mm.
I was like, babe. And she was just looking up at me, and she was like, so. Listen, this is why this whole case is snake bitten. Because when I walked in that house, I knew within 10 minutes what to do. 911. It's an emergency. I'm not a cop caller by any means. Trust me. If I see a fight, I might sit there and watch. I'm not gonna call the cops on you. But in this situation, it was 911. Get here. And I even talked about this when the cops came. They treated me like a criminal. They sat me down because I had a machete in my room. I'm like, there's like 15 of you guys with guns. You're worried about a machete. My girlfriend's dying. Like, do something. And so they're taking care of her. Don't worry. And now, I don't know what she was wearing. So I go in there and I just put pants on her because she didn't have she just had like shorts on and you could see her like everything. And I didn't want that for her. Like, so I was like out of the way to these cops after they took the machete, and I was with her the whole time. And 2 days she was good in the hospital. I stayed with her, holding her hand. She's looking at me. She couldn't really talk. She was just making sounds, and I'd see a teardrop here and there. I'd kiss her. I'd do her hair and stuff, and wash her face, and then it just got bad 2 days later. Just got real bad fast.
Um,
Everything just started shutting down. Her liver, her kidneys.
does she
So
did she
that's how
have
she passed. It was alcohol.
does she, so did does Lauren's family have a history or a background of addiction and or alcoholism? Is that something that sort of runs in her family? Because that's quite common. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, she told me her parents. She was actually, yeah, her real parents did. To answer your question.
okay, yes, um, and so that must have been just tragic and so difficult for you and for her, obviously. It's interesting, James. My story is sort of similar in terms of that 4 day window with my husband, and then like everything, he had a pre-existing like congenital defect. He died of a ruptured cerebral aneurysm, which no one knew about. So, but it was about 4 days. He had a giant seizure at home late on a Friday night, and by the Monday when he was in surgery, that they couldn't save him in surgery. But it was 4 days as well. It's such a fast. Your whole world changes, right?
Yeah, you're just holding on to hope when you're sitting there in that hospital. And the first thing I said to the doctor, I said, "She's not gonna die, right?" He goes, "No, man, no." I said, and I took him outside because there was two nurses in the room, and I asked him, and I said, "She's not gonna die." He goes, "No." But he goes, we're gonna get her the medicine she needs here, and then I mean he can't tell me that. So because what if he said yeah and she didn't. So he couldn't tell me right away, so he did his job, I understand, but he told me no, she wasn't gonna die, and we're just gonna get her the help here, and then our plan is to move her to the ICU after here. And I was like, all right. And that's why I just didn't want to leave her side. That's why.
Absolutely. And you mentioned before about having regrets with maybe things you could have done differently. And honestly, James, I before for most of my life, I pretty didn't ever have any regrets. I have a couple now, and I mean, regrets are kind of a point. A regret is a pointless and sort of toxic thing to have, but it's also human nature.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the one regret because my husband, we were high school. Oh, what did I just do? We were high school. We
You
got an
guys,
echo. We were high school sweethearts, and then or like best friends, and then we lost contact, and then hooked up again when we were 19. It was thick and fast, and then he passed away when we were both 27. But when he had the seizure and then went into hospital, it was, I mean, I won't go into details, but there was a lot of like, because in seizure you quite often will throw up, will vomit and stuff, because he was, so there was a lot of washing to do, and the first day when he was in hospital. I took a while, like I did laundry and like did loads of washing before I went to the hospital, not really thinking that be he would be going. And that's a regret of mine, that I didn't just spend every of last of those four days with him. And you can't turn back time, right?
right? And Shorty, you hear this all the time. People say, and this is a question I have for you because it's so early in my stage. They say it gets easier with time. And I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, maybe it gets easier as far as, yeah, life goes on. I understand. Um,
So
I've had, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
No, I was just, that's my question. But I've had some serious, like, my friends are just come out and, you need to go get laid and take her off your mind. Like, no, that's not how I get down. I love this girl. I can't just go up. I feel like, I still would feel like I was doing something behind her back. I just, that's how I felt.
I completely understand. I don't love the it gets better with time, because to me that's a sort of a form of toxic positivity. It's like, chin up, it's going to get better, because that doesn't help you when it's not better right now. The whole world has stopped. Your world has stopped, but
Right.
then the rest of the world is still turning. I found that very hard for a long time, very hard to come to terms with. I wanted to scream from the rooftops, like, why are you all doing a normal life? Like the my world is done. Um, and I used to wake up every morning for many years, and the first thing I thought every morning was, "Oh, Robert's dead." That's right. And it took me a long time. I don't I mean, it's been 21 years for me though, James. And the other thing for me is I really struggled going to bed at night, because I would stay up
Right.
late, because I didn't want to start the whole day again the next morning and have that realization every morning. I mean, I still, like, Robert still comes to me sometimes in dreams, but it's not a dream. Like, he comes to me. Like, I really much believe that he visits me. I know he does. And I still have these moments where suddenly out of the blue I'll get a bit teary about something, and it won't be necessarily anything in particular. I just suddenly, like, we come with that wave of sadness and what could have been. But you know what? Every day, one day at a time, James. Really, that's all you can do. And obviously, you have your faith, and you have your son, and you
Right.
have your. I mean, it's amazing that you and JFK can do what you do together, both on YouTube, your own YouTube channel. So it's so good to have things to focus on, so that
Mhm.
you can not wallow in it and not get pulled into the grief. Um, that's. I mean, I'm not going to say to you it gets better, because ugh, that's a shitty thing to say, and it's a shitty thing for your friends to say. Just go out and, like, have they
Yeah. Well,
have they ever
that's
been in love though? You know, like, if you've never
right.
been in love and loved someone, how do you even know? And if you've never lost your partner, your person, forever lost, how
Mm.
can? Mm. That's why I reached out to you, because I'm like, if you want someone to talk to, it's been a
No, I
long
know
time.
you did.
But
And, Shorty, I really appreciate you for that. And JFK too. If there wasn't, him, it wouldn't be a me and you right now. It's like, and that's where my faith comes with God. I believe everything happens for a reason, and anybody out there can, take one thing from what you and I say, it's like it does. You're not alone. Basically, I'm not gonna, like we just said, we're not gonna say it gets better. You're just not alone. This is something, and grief, it's real, and I'm to touchy subject, especially after it happened. Whew, like my family members were just trying to be there for me so much. It was so overwhelming. I just wanted to be alone. I didn't want. I mean, I appreciate them and I love them, but I just wanted to be alone. I isolated a lot. I didn't want to answer my phone. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's very understandable, because you're just trying to come to terms with something that you, I guess, in those early days, based on that 7 stages of grief, you're probably in denial about things because it's surreal, right? It doesn't feel real when something happens. Like, 4 days is nothing. And you knew she wasn't well, not
Right.
she wasn't, but at the same time, who would ever think? You just can't fathom it. Um, I know for me, over those four days when my husband, between having this seizure and dying, I actually looked at myself in the mirror. Anytime I looked at myself, I could see my face changing. The experience changed the way my face looked. It was, and I acknowledged it at the time, like it was kind of like it was so surreal. The whole thing was so surreal.
Mm, it's very true. You know, I'm sure that, because like you said with the crying, it just comes out of nowhere. You know, and that probably did a number on our eyes as we, I'm getting older. Everybody, I laugh at the chat when they're like, "There's no way he's in his 40s," and I'm like, I just like, okay, whatever. But yeah, um, but they start noticing these things like your eyes and you know wrinkles, but your face, like, and it could be from that, you
The
know.
grief changes you. I absolutely do. You sort of lose something about yourself, but then you gained your spirit. Well, strengthened your faith and your spirituality. So
Yes,
that's, that's
it's
always life, right? There's a balance. There's always a balance. You can't. Something has to go to.
we call it the yin and the yang. There's always a yin and a yang.
Like, again, with my husband, with Robert's passing, I was like, I mean, I can still be a bit of a brat. Adam can attest to that. But uh, I'm an only child, and I guess I was kind of quite caught up in things, and I was a bit of a brat, and and
No, not you.
it's okay to be a brat. So jealous of your
Yeah.
vape game. I'm not even tipping you for a vape. But then after, like, the what the way it changed me, not just my physical look, my face, but how I viewed the world. I would have never become who I became in life, and with my understanding of more than just me, my little world, my little brat world, and our family. Like, we had a daughter. She was almost turning 5, when about to turn 5 when he passed away. Um,
Oh wow.
but I really would never ever have become the person I would have. I think I would have gotten more bratty, and I would have become a bit of a bitch. I mean, everyone can be, and it leveled me, it grounded me, it made me see what there was to life, and that
Right.
appreciate more things, and to be less self-absorbed in my little.
Yeah. You don't want to be that person. No one
No,
likes that person, and that's the thing. It's like at the, you just want to bring the joy out. You want people to feel comfortable around you, like, and that's the thing. And that's where I'm at today. And yeah, I'm like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says because I just got like this tunnel vision. And right now, it's just to heal myself because I struggled with my kid's mom back and forth, and that's a issue that her and I had to do, and she just wanted to go through the courts. And you want to talk about the corrupt. uh, the family probate in mass is more corrupt than the criminal, because you don't get no court appointed lawyer. You got to pay for your attorney,
Yeah,
and these attorneys ain't cheap.
no. Oh, so in family stuff, you have to there's no whatever you call it. In Australia, we call it legal aid.
Yes, you don't get no. You have to put up money for an attorney. So, um, and that costs money. And then getting back into my son's life and just thinking now where I'm at today, I'm a better dad. I can be there for him. I can do things for him. If he needs money, I can give it to him. If he needs, I'm there. I can show up today, where opposed to before I wasn't showing up. 100%.
Can I ask, in the months? I mean, it's only been months. Gosh, James, I'm so sorry. This is like, I'm so proud of you for coming on and talking about this. It must be really hard. But did you find yourself being drawn to any sort of towards alcohol or anything to cope, or did you find your faith was enough, more than enough, obviously?
Oh, I feel my faith. It's we were just talking about that, and I said it like before I go on these lives, because I was so used to just putting something to cope with anxiety. I said to JFK the other night, maybe it's God that you feel that feeling, because it's similar, right? The feeling of having this, and I don't want to get all spiritual, but that's just how I felt. And so, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love smoking my weed. Don't I don't know if anybody's against that, but that's where I'm
Not in
at.
this community. I think just about everybody smokes weed. I used to. I don't anymore, but
Yeah,
um, mostly because I can't do smoke, because I like vaping and it's a vapor. I just the smoke part of things. Like I used to smoke cigarettes, but I haven't for like a decade. And so
yeah,
for
me
me,
neither.
yeah. So
But they have the vape weed too.
in the US, James, not in
Oh,
Australia.
well, Shorty, you might have to come to Boston.
Well, I'm coming to the States, but it's definitely going to be to the West Coast. But I'll come and see you.
The
Um,
West Coast, you don't want to come to the East Coast? What's the matter?
as
Leave-
far away on your continent from Massachusetts, surely.
Oh, that'd be great.
Did you know I actually because I'm adopted. I was born in Canada, Hamilton,
Oh,
Ontario, and my adoptive parents were Australian expats living in Hamilton in Canada, and so they adopted me when I was 10 days old, and then my father they were there for my dad's work, my adoptive father's work, and then when after 6 months, they relocated to be in Needham in Boston. So I lived for the first 3.5 years of my life in Needham in Boston.
you know how crazy that is? My
Isn't it
girlfriend,
wild?
but
Oh,
my Lauren was adopted, and she was adopted from. She lived in Brockton, and then the family who adopted her lived in Medford. So she lived right next door to me. But that's wild that you were adopted. And she was, yeah,
how old was Lauren when she passed away?
34, 34, 35, 34, I think.
So
It
that's
was,
interesting because I'm almost 50.
uh,
And so in my generation, like I think in the mid 70s, yikes, adoption was more common. But like it's interesting that Lauren, she's 15 years was 15 years younger than me, and that's really quite interesting. But I
yeah,
think, yeah, there's a lot of issues like as much as it's amazing to have a family who wants you and loves you and what brings you in, there's so many mental health issues with adoptees. I think I'm going to do a show on it because I think there's a need.
yes, and you know what? There was a problem there. She actually, she had um, like two brothers and a sister, real, two real brothers and a real sister they got adopted, all of them, by a family, and they
Oh,
didn't take Lauren, so it was kind of like they left her out. And I
oh,
felt, she told me that story, I was so like, babe, I was so sad, like, for her, like, nobody, like, it's almost like, what? So I don't know, like, the way she explained it was, that's how she broke it down to me, like, it made me sad. And so, like I said, she was adopted at a later age, probably, I want to say, maybe even in like her teens, like 13,
oh
12 or 13.
goodness.
Yeah, so she said it was bad in those places.
Well, James, I'm not surprised then that she was calling you when you were away. The abandonment issues she must have had when her siblings were all taken and she was left behind. I have massive abandonment issues, like ugh, such a
Yeah.
brat about it. But uh, it's no wonder she was kind of clinging on, and also no wonder she was turning to alcohol because there's some really deep seated stuff there for, particularly as a teenager or a young, young adolescent.
Well,
Goodness.
she was still in touch with her real sister, who she, up until she passed. They're very close. They remained very close still, even though they went separate ways. They still, even her brothers, they're all great people. You can't say one bad thing about them. But yeah, so she definitely had a tough upbringing, for sure, to say the least.
Yeah. Wow. That's gee, James. So you really like. I know you were saying before that you felt like you could have had regrets that you could have done things differently or better or been more supportive or able to steer her away from that. But honestly, given everything, there's few things you've told us about Lauren and her demons. I think it's amazing just you being there for her was probably everything to her. Everything.
I think
Everything.
that, yeah, and I think that's why, her kid's father, because she had a son with another man. Her son I met when he was 3 months, and up until he was 7. So he was in my life until he was 7, and he's my little buddy. I could still see him. It's just him and the dad, and I don't really see. We got different points of. He sees things his way, I see them mine. But anyway, uh, yeah, I think that I gave her that because he was like more, oh, why are you with this kid? Look at how he is. He looks like this, and because he thought he was this macho, I go to the gym type of guy. I look like, you know, and she just, I think that was it. She really cared about me, and she loved me, and I knew it. And when I feel love, when someone give me the heart, of course I'm gonna give them my heart back.
Absolutely. Maybe, I mean, I don't want. I feel like sometimes you being there for those almost 3 years, 4 years for her might have been exactly what you needed to do for you and for her, and it was just one of those things where the universe or God or whatever made sure that you were there for each other, and look who you've become through that tragedy.
That's a good way of looking at it. I never look at it like that because maybe it's early still, and I still feel
Yes.
like I still read text messages. I still have all, you know, stuff I got her, clothes. I can still smell, a comforter. It's just stuff like that.
Yeah, it's way early for you. I think I still have some things, but it's been over 2 decades for me, and a lot of Robert's things I gave away to his brothers and sister, who actually passed away 10 years later at the same age that Robert was when he died from a very similar thing, but not related at all. You can't make this shit up.
Right.
But yeah, I couldn't get rid of anything of his for the longest time, and nor should you. Like that's those you might never. You might always keep all those special things.
Well, yeah, some things. I mean, for the most part, like when that happened, that was the other thing. Like, everyone came to the house, and when I came back, the apartment was empty. I'm like, all right, that's cool. But her sister that I said she was still close with, I called her and was like, you should get here in case something, God forbid, does happen. And she did, and I'm glad that I was able to make that happen for her because she got what she needed, and what I heard with my own ears, Lauren say she wanted her to have if anything ever happened to her. So
Oh.
she kind of felt almost was expecting this in a way.
Well, was Lauren like spiritual? Did she have a strong faith or not so much?
Um, that's a good question. I think after her daughter passed, she just because I would, I'd say I would talk to her about it, and I'd say you got to try pray with prayer, or try something else. This isn't working, and she's like, "There's no God. God, why would God take my daughter?" And I'm
Mm,
just like, Lauren, we don't know. I mean, we don't know why these things happen, and it's very unfortunate and it's very sad. But so to answer your question, I don't know. Um, she could have, and but I think she was upset with God.
yes, understandably, and I think
Right. A
yeah,
child.
yeah, that's so tragic, James. So what's the last 12 months looked like, 11 months, almost 12 months, looked
Yeah.
like for you? I mean, you mentioned that you had a bit of a look at the 7 stages of grief today, which I was interested that nobody had mentioned to you. Before I go there, did you get any grief counseling of any description, or do you find your faith has been and your friends?
Um. I'm not really the counselor type, and that's not to say it doesn't work for people. I grew up in the system too, DYS, and the way they treated you, you know, we we just didn't really trust them. They weren't really there to help you, to say the least. So I really never. I think my faith. I think my faith. I think my friends for sure. My real friends, and you know, family of course. But I think mostly my faith in God, and that's definitely what is getting me through it.
That's amazing. Um, So when you had a look today at the 7 stages of grief, or you stumbled across that, did
Yeah.
anything those do you want to have you got there what you read? Because I've got something up on my screen, but what have you got there that you found today, and what did anything particularly resonate with you out of those things? I know. Let me
Um,
just. I might just share screen. Hang on. I'll just get this up here.
yeah, it was weird because we were talking about this backstage, and Shorty had asked me if I had ever heard about this. And this is like, you can't make this shit up. I said, Shorty, look at this. And I showed her what I was reading today. When I had physical therapy, I just had surgery last month. And I was just, while I was sitting in the waiting room, I started going over the 7 symptoms. And, so you shut down. Number one was you shut down, then all what ifs, and yet the what ifs, and
Yes.
could I have done more come going out. Oh, no, this was what helps. So, oh, I'm sorry, that was a different part. These are the things that the grief symptoms are: intense sadness and feelings of emptiness or loss, numb disbelief about loss, making it hard to accept, difficulty concentrating and making decisions affecting your daily life. And that was a big one for me because, um, you know, I didn't want to even leave my room. Like I said, I didn't want to talk to nobody, and that's on here too. I saw that. Um, Changes in appetite. I lost a lot of weight. As you can see, the last trip to New York, I was like probably 220, and I'm
Yeah.
like 190 now. So yeah.
Do you
Uh,
like physically? Does that make? Do you feel better having like lost that? Obviously, the cause of that weight loss is
I mean,
awful, and you don't tell
yeah.
anyone. But
No, I wouldn't say it's my weight's always been like fluctuous, so
yeah.
around that. But I I have to say I didn't do. They said exercise was good to get through this, the grief.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it releases a lot of endorphins and stuff like that. But that's something was lacking.
You can get that release of endorphins through other ways. Like, for example, I'm sure that you get a rush from being going live with JFK. That's a an endorphin release as well. Dopamine hit, um, and yeah. So have you felt like you've gone back and like now seeing that in writing that you hadn't really ever heard of before, those sort of things, did it make you feel comforted to know that what you've been experiencing is or was and will be normal or to be expected?
Well, yeah, it actually was surprising because what is normal, right? You know,
Exactly. But possibly something that you may experience in grief, because those things, when you realize that it's that what you're feeling, even though your grief is everybody's grief is very personal, that these are things that are quite common, right? I guess
yeah,
that's
it
not
is calm.
better
You're
than
right. I
common,
get
not
it.
yes.
Yeah, and yeah, I couldn't agree. I was like, wow, these are everything I went through, like literally everything I went through, and still am going through. It was hard for me even in the beginning to get on screen and do this with, me and JFK. We have our conversations, and I get a lot just from being on the phone, like with him. So to go live and have people, and that's another thing, and the people in the chat, you never know that, this is in one of JFK's songs, he said, you never know what the next man's going through. So watch what you say, watch what you do. And that's so
Absolutely.
true because you never know what Miss Shorty had, like how her day was today. You don't know how uh, Sarah and Shock
Shock and horror.
Horror's day was today. You know what I'm saying, Miss Shorty? You just don't know.
The thing is, most people, yes, exactly. You never know what someone's going through or what they've been through that leads them to the point where where you intersect with them in life. That, like, all of the things in any person's background brings them to that point where they are and how they conduct themselves, behave, what they say, how they say it, how they react to things. So it's like it's pretty important to not take things too personally about other people, because generally the way someone is about what they're feeling, not how they feel about you. That's what I reckon. All right. Has anybody got any questions for James? I know there's been a lot of outpouring of love and sending
I,
thoughts and prayers to you, and everyone, people are so in awe of your vulnerability.
I
Um,
haven't even seen the comments yet.
well,
I don't know
um,
what. Oh, here we. Wait a second. Here we
when
go. All
by
right,
the
now
way,
I'm seeing.
we're not going to be going. James isn't going, but if we're actually, I've got a few things that I need to ask James about in terms of Hank Brennan, and
Beetlejuice. Say his
be
name.
say his name and a few other things. But I just thought, hang on, let me just put some comments up on the screen. Thank you, Sarah Doucette. Humanity is all we have, right?
Yep.
Um, Past my bedtime. Technology challenged, same. Um, oh, there we go. Sarah in shock and horror. If it's not too painful, would you be willing to share one of your favorite memories of or with Lauren?
It was definitely going to Stop and Shop. We had so much fun there. Like when I got so like I'm a editing, like I love to edit videos, even like just for my own purpose, like to send to her and show her. And I remember after my surgery I couldn't walk, so I had to drive one of the little red carts to go in with her, and and she was videotaping me. So, I mean, we just had so much fun there, and everybody, she knew everybody there. I'm like, you like last week, she's paid for someone's grocery. I'm like, babe, you got, like I said, she cared about everybody. But yeah, that was probably that was our spot, Stop and Shop.
That's beautiful. And
Yeah.
even how about like not to diminish that at all, but then the synchronicity of the Stop and Shop bags and the Karen Reed trial, like everything's intertwined in this world. Absolutely. Um, Wait, somebody asked Drea asked a question. And I'll throw it to you first. Did you guys make bad decisions and realized it was grief behind it? James, you're probably still so in the thick of it. It's hard to say.
Did you guys make bad decisions and realized it was um bad decisions? I mean, that could mean a million different things. I don't know.
I know I can speak to it that my life has been an absolute shit show since my husband passed away. And the roller coaster ride that I've put myself on in the last 21 years is almost certainly completely linked to that grief and that trauma. I guess more trauma. The trauma of my husband passing away, when he did and how he did. And then the road through the grief, the 7 stages of grief. I didn't like family stuff, blah, blah, blah. And and who knows, maybe I was just always like a little bit of a loose cannon, but like it's makes for good content for me. The decisions I've made that have led me now that I can talk about it on YouTube.
Yeah, so I mean, I haven't really made any bad decisions. I've actually made the right decisions since Lauren passed. I've been making better decisions, to be honest with you.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah.
That's awesome. I'll have what he's having. Better decisions. I wonder if it's your. I wonder if it's like I am spiritual and believe in the universe and a God. I'm not so much organized religion, but like I absolutely do believe and have faith. I don't know whether it's the same, looks the same as your faith, but I definitely. And I was raised by two hardline atheists. My adoptive parents are hardline, so for me to be very spiritual and to believe in all those things and get strength from that faith
Yeah.
is pretty incredible, actually. Um,
Hmm.
where do we go? Can you see
Well,
anything in comments? What's this?
thank you, Chicken Palm.
Where am I? I'm all out of the order here. Chicken palm.
I just want to thank everybody too that came over from JFK and I. I appreciate you. If you haven't subbed JFK, I'm sure you already have because you wouldn't know me. That's for sure. JFK and I, he put me over.
That's a good question from Pierre. Did grief paralyze your decision making? I'll go again first. I know for me, Pierre, like when in the period of time for, I guess, like I basically got in there and put my head down and got busy work, busy work. I went put our house on the market. I didn't stop from. I think I pushed myself into making decisions, doing things, doing. So I'm probably have I would certainly say I suffer now more from decision paralysis than I did in the thick of my grief. How about you, James?
Um, in the first 3 months, I would say yes, it paralyzed the shit out of me. I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to get in my car. I didn't want to go to the store. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to do anything. And then, it took a lot of, just like I said, just believing and prayer, and so yeah,
That's
we love
amazing.
you.
Yes, Kelly Hill, we love you both. Aww.
Mm.
I'm just scrolling down. Watched you and JFK last night. Good show. I spoke on the phone with you all. Linda, nice, called in.
Oh, Linda. Oh, right. Yeah. The StreamYard, I don't know. Does it let you? We're trying to figure it out. I guess you can't because I think she was the one that said, and let James talk on the phone. So it's only you can hear. Everybody can hear, but she can't hear me. Right? That's how it works.
My suggestion would be to JFK to that is to, instead of doing a phone call, an actual, like a phone number, oh, how old am I? To try dropping the StreamYard link into the chat instead, that people can come in and do like when I came on a few weeks ago, and just for when I was at work, and JFK sent me the link and I just jumped in there. You don't have to be on camera. Like you could do, like I could go this and I would be not on camera. Yeah. So people don't necessarily have to be on camera. Whoa, wrong button. That way, then you, James, you can hear everybody. It'll be like a three-way. Everybody will be able to.
You can control that though, right? So if they're on camera or not, but I don't think that's that's not what we're trying to do. I don't think JFK is trying to go in that direction. We did that before. We had a show where we used to have everybody up in the box and stuff like that, but he would be bringing different people up for sure. I mean, you're always welcome. You know that.
No, I just mean like with the phone calls, like they can still
it
have like
work better, right?
And you also won't get that, like, in my neurodivergent brain can't deal with the call waiting bit. It's like calling and calling. But yeah. All right. So that's kind of a good segue. I'm going to put on my song again and see whether I can find my vapes, and then I want to pick your brains a bit about Karen Reid and Norfolk County and stuff. But before we go away from that, James, I really want to thank you so much for being so willing and open to being vulnerable and sharing, and like we appreciate you and we love you. Everybody loves you, and I think everybody loves you even more now. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Shorty. You know, you were the first one told me, and he told me you could relate, that you were the first one that reached out to me and told me that, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody in the chat too. You guys help too tremendously. All your comments, I read them all. It's just all positivity, and that's where I'm trying to. Like I said, that's where my life is going. Positive. I'm not.
Yes. I mean, everybody has darkness. I think probably had I been raised from parents who had some sort of faith, not hardline atheists, I probably would have coped better through those darkest years and months and days and hours of my grief. I really feel like that's an important distinction for people. It doesn't have to be organized religion, faith, but a belief in the more than just what's here and now, and something that makes you feel like you're loved and supported. And if that's, a Christian God or whatever it is to people. All right. Let me just put this song on. I've got to find my vapes, and then let's just change gears. Thank you so much, James. BRB. Wait. No, actually, wait. Gosh, I'm a professional. I am. I promise. I'm a total professional. Well.
She leaves us in our fight. She's a fucking delight.
I'm sure JFK would be absolutely horrified by that's AI music, but it's a thing. We are online these days. Everything's electronic. Not everything. There is still the real stuff, but I know JFK. Anyway,
He's a
it's
red.
banger.
No, it's different. It's definitely different. I like it now. Now I get the whole roller coasters in the background and everything.
Yes, well, that's my whole theme, is that life is a roller coaster. Want to ride with me? That was the inception of my entire channel. My true crime stuff, my Karen Reed stuff, my Adelson stuff is kind of adjacent to the Let's Talk stuff. I really wanted to open those conversations, and we're doing that. But also, we've got conversations to have about other things. So
Right.
yes, okay, we're back. I hope you're back with us now. We are back. Okay, so here's my thing. As much as I lived in Boston for the first 3.5 years of my life, and I know the general vibe of Boston as being corrupted Massachusetts. I know about the sort of the mob stuff, and I know a little bit about Whitey Bulger, a very little bit, learning a lot with you and JFK. But here's and this is my first question. And Adam, could you please pop this poll up now if you've got that there? Thank you. So I'm of two minds about Hank Brennan, special prosecutor, brought in by the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. This is my question. I want to know whether he's been brought in by Meatball Morrissey, or whether he's been brought in by the mob. So
Why would the mob bring him in, though?
Well,
why do you think the mob
this is my question. So I want to, given his background as being, the defense attorney for renowned mobster, Whitey Bulger, it's an interesting choice, no? So educate me and educate people.
On Whitey Bulger or Hank Brennan?
Well, both. So that we're giving bigger picture, like the mob stuff, right?
I just don't see. I think the reason they brought Hank in, some people think the feds brought him in, and this one brought. I think that the way stuff works is the way the world works. I mean, these are cops. How do I say this? I think Hank Brennan, he's gonna come in, right, and this is his chance to prove to the world that he's gonna make this he's either gonna find something that we don't know, or someone's gonna make a deal. I think he's actually gunning for Morrissey's job. That's what me and JFK came up with.
So that sort of makes sense in terms of succession planning for the higher ups in the district attorneys who kind of decide, really, if there's no one else to put into Michael Morrissey's position, then they're kind of stuck with him. They have to have an alternative candidate. They can't remove him for whatever reason without having someone to put in the place. And given the stench of corruption that's all over this case, from the first responders, potentially, through to the Mass State Police, through to the district attorney's office, I guess it does make sense that they bring someone in who is very anti-police corruption. Hank Brennan, yes?
Yes. And that's what he stands for, allegedly. I mean, this is what he said. Those were his words. He doesn't like, he said, you see our intros, he expects criminals to commit crimes, yes, but he doesn't expect law enforcement officers or policemen to, do these types of things. And, so I think Hank is going to come in this with an open mind. And the mob thing was just, I think he was actually trying to out the feds. Like, no, you guys have it wrong. Uh, Whitey had you guys in his pocket. It wasn't he wasn't an informant for you. And this is why we say the feds are not heroes. The feds do crazy things. Like the feds would set up a crack house, put and take two sober kids and have them in there, giving them information, giving them drugs, just to do whatever they want. They don't care. These kids are getting ruined in their lives because they're getting information from them. And that's how it is here. Like this is just facts, you know. So I think Hank Brennan's coming in with open mind, and this is his big dance with the what it's showtime. You know, that's what we that's what we stand by.
So I guess my suspicion, if we're sort of going with tinfoil hat stuff, is that Hank Brennan perhaps was, and maybe still is, paid by the organized crime of Massachusetts, and that perhaps, and I'm just throwing it out there, and I want you to set me straight if what you're saying makes a lot of sense. But in my brain, I'm thinking, well, what if he's still their guy, you know, and this is actually a heavy on the legal side of justice of the district attorney's office, and that are they heavying him in to railroad? I don't know. That's why I don't know enough about it. So,
Well, the other thing too is with the organized crime here in Boston, they hate Whitey.
yes,
You know, they don't like Whitey, so that's why I don't think that that case with the saying it's about organized crime or anything, because they all thought Whitey was an informant, but really he just grew up with John. This is what Hank is saying. He wasn't an informant. He just grew up with this guy, and this guy just gave him information, and Whitey paid him. And then John Conley went down, and then he said no, he was an informant. So it's like he said that now it's like back and forth. Like here now we segue off to Karen Reed, Proctor. No, she said this and he said that, and no, I said he was at the no. You know, it's just it's a show at the end of the day, is what it is.
it really is. So, what do you think it looks like? Let's set aside who has put Hank Brennan in there, whether it's um, to supersede Michael Morrissey, whether it's whatever. What do you have any predictions for what the next sort of 4 or 5 or 6 months is going to look like with the Karen Reed trial?
Yeah, I would say Hank right now is up studying still. He, for instance, you and I are doing this show tonight. You ask me, James, come up. I'm sitting in physical therapy looking at the 7 symptoms of grief because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Do you think somebody who is more intelligent than James Jackson
Never.
is doing his homework?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He is doing his homework, and that's a fact. He's coming in. Yeah.
Absolutely. And particularly if he has his eye, whether it's a personal vision on that job, the district attorney's job, or whether it's other people have that in mind for him, whether it's the good guys or the bad guys. I don't know if there's a distinction there. They might all be just bad guys in that world. Absolutely, he's going to be doing his homework. He's going to be reading up. I wonder if he'll get to a point where he goes, no, this stinks. This stinks.
Yeah.
This whole thing stinks. And because there's no hubris there with him, he's coming in fresh versus Michael Morrissey, who's got his ego and whatever else all wrapped into it. Whether he does dismiss the charges.
Hank Brennan is no Lally. Let's just say that. He's not gonna look stupid. Hank Brennan ain't gonna come in and look like Lally.
No, absolutely not.
So
Absolutely not.
if he thinks this, if he smells shit, he's not gonna step in it. Let's just say that. Just putting
True.
on. It's getting a little chilly.
Yes. Yes, you guys are, the weather is starting to change now. Same for us
Yeah.
here in Australia. We're going the other way though. We're getting warmer.
Oh yeah, it's different.
Yes, we're upside down.
Upside down.
It's funny.
That-
Some people don't like. It's wild to me. Like when I posted something on Twitter about spring has sprung in Melbourne, and a few people were like, "What do you mean it's spring? It's September." I'm like, "Yeah, well, we're in the southern hemisphere, so our seasons are opposite to yours. Like that's science, yeah." And they were like, "It's mind blown."
right?
And our Christmas for us is the height of summer, you know, like it's hot. Christmas is hot, but we still have all of the northern hemisphere trappings with, you know, snow frosted with decorations, or like, you know, fake snow and stuff. Like it's quite funny.
Oh yeah, that's why you want to go to Cali. You
Well,
want the palm trees, and you want to put the lights on the palm trees in your backyard. I get it. You don't want no snow.
well, Oregon has a little. It's actually Oregon, not Cali, but yeah. So, yeah, the West Coast. I mean, I've wanted to move to the States for a couple of years, and now it looks like it's definitely happening. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
So you say he's no Lally. Obviously, Lally is one of a kind, right?
Right.
And not in a good way. I know for me, in the hearings we've had since the trial was called a mistrial, pretty triggering to hear fucking Lally going on again. Like you forget how and then he comes back in just being more Lally than ever.
Yeah, he just comes off like with this type of energy that is just like so like he just don't even want to be there. Like, listen, you got to figure this shit out, Lally. Do you want to work today or not? You know, it's like, are you coming to work or not? And
do you think that Lally was forced into trying that case by Michael Morrissey? Do you think he was dragging his feet because he was reluctant to prosecute it, or what are your thoughts on Lally?
well, I don't think it was so much that he was dragging his feet and that Morrissey giving him the case, and he thought he would. I just thought he you know, the evidence and her saying in the beginning, I hit him, and she didn't mean to hit him. Like, you know, when she had her first actual bail, when Yannetti was getting her out and said, my client didn't do this on purpose or whatever. So I think Morrissey thought it was just going to be a cut dry case. I don't think he understood about all the corruption and all the fuckery that was around it.
Really? You don't think Morrissey knew about?
Oh, no, I should take that back. I think he knew a lot. I take that because I don't want people to take this out of, oh, James said Morrissey's a great guy. No, he's a piece of shit. He definitely knew shit was going on, but I think he thought is what I like. When Karen said, I said it with quotations and then with emphasis, like however she said it, like followed by a question mark or whatever. But yeah, no, I just think that he thought it would go away fast by Karen Reed admitting to it, and Proctor, he's gonna take care. You know, but it didn't happen. It didn't work that way, Morrissey. The feds are on your ass. So now he's going to Hank Brennan, Beetlejuice, coming in to save the day. That's what the swerve.
The swerve. There it is.
There's the swerve.
So if you had to make a prediction right now, do you think there will be, okay, wait, two predictions. A trial a trial at all? A retrial? And if so, do you think it's going to be still in January? What are your thoughts?
Well, JFK made a great point last night. What if everybody gets charged? What if Hank comes in and charges all of them?
You mean the McAlberts, etc., all those? Everybody.
And Karen, and all the witnesses that lied on the stand, and just figures out, like, this is what I mean. Hank is not coming in to do something. Let's just put it this way: he's not coming in to be made look like a fool. This guy thinks Hank Brennan went on national TV and said Whitey Bulger wasn't a rat. So this guy is not gonna be made to look like a fool. He can't be. Oh man. JFK, is he in the chat still?
He's in the chat. He's a member now. I think he might have gotten gifted a membership.
That's right, JFK. And
then Glenn Lake said to protect and swerve. I like that too. That'd be a good merch idea, to protect.
Yes. To protect and swerve. Miss Shorty got new merch.
Well, I'm in the process of getting some merch organized, but I'm too busy for that. Whitey ain't a rat. So just I see, that's the thing, because I don't know enough about all of that. And you guys laugh and I'm like, but I need to know: is Whitey a rat? Is he a rat?
It's like, listen, we say this to say this because Whitey is known as the biggest rat in Boston, but nobody ever saw paperwork on him because he was on. He was in California, where you're going, for the last 20 years hiding with his girlfriend. I mean, he was in plain sight. And when he came back, Hank Brennan talked to him, and that's why I think Hank really is coming in to do the right thing. He's coming in because of, like I said earlier, he doesn't like corrupt law enforcement. He doesn't like the feds being, so I think Hank Brennan is the man for the job. But back to Whitey, Hank Brennan said he was not a rat, and Whitey wanted that to be clear, that he never ratted on anybody.
So do you think that was propaganda or fake news that the feds or whoever put out there to try and taint the public opinion of Whitey, to discredit anything he said, and then when that maybe didn't work, they got rid of him?
Absolutely. The feds knew Whitey was not working with them, if that's what Hank Brennan is saying. Hank Brennan's saying the opposite of what we all thought. Yes. I don't know if you guys ever saw Black Mass, but if you haven't, it's kind of based on Whitey Bulger. It's based on Whitey Bulger. And Johnny Depp plays Whitey Bulger. It's a great movie. But anyway,
I watch that. That's good to know. I will watch that. And my video said
Shorty.
Yeah. I don't watch movies, James. I'm such a weirdo. I just do all hardline information trials. I don't listen to music. Sorry. I just watch trials and learn shit, which is very boring. I'm such a nerd.
No, Shorty, you're not a nerd.
Oh, I'm proudly a nerd.
Yeah. I mean, but so I don't know what else you wanted. I forgot where we went there with that.
Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you. Standard.
No, that's fine.
So, about whether where there was no receipts and he was just out there, he was hiding away, just living his life incognito, not even just living his life on the other side of the country, right?
Yeah. What do you have? I forget, it was 30 or 80 mil or something stashed in the wall, all sorts of guns. That's not somebody that ratted and is on the run hiding. That's somebody that is waiting for shit to pop off, and he was prepared. But the way they got him, he couldn't do anything. They got him good, But and then you look at who his brother is. His brother's high up in the politics.
Wait, sorry, Hank Brennan or Whitey Bulger?
Whitey Bulger. his first brother was like a senator, or he's some politician. People, yeah, that's what I said. He was hiding with the bucket hat, Jay. He was out there, he was right there with the bucket hat the whole time. He was OG, like he looking like LL out in Cali. And then they got his.
I think I might have to do a deep dive into Whitey Bulger because
Yes, you didn't know about his brother?
I don't know about a lot of things, man. I'm in Australia. Like I
So-
can claim to fame lots of stuff, but this is culture stuff that didn't necessarily get over to Australia,
Right, I get it. But yeah, so if Hank Brennan said it, yep, rats have a card. Absolutely. So
Maybe I'll get, hey, JFK, do you want to come on and share some insights? Because we'll see.
that would be
Um,
yeah, that'd be great.
I can send you a link. Hang on. I'll send you a link, JFK. If you want to, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Do you want to see in the chat, James, if there's anything that people are saying or...
Okay, so we got JFK. Hank might charge Karen if she seen anything that night. So if what he means by that, if Karen did see a fight break out and just peeled off, or if John, got mad because of something, and she, who knows, she could have seen some type of fight happen.
Do you think?
I mean,
send it. Okay.
the reason we say that is because we all saw that video of them in the bar, right? How? So when the next time they seen each other, that was on site. They weren't waiting. They weren't talking it out. They were fighting. That's how they were getting it right away.
100%. You can't mistake that body language.
And that's why I said to JFK last night, I said, I think if Brian Higgins and Brian Albert pulled up together, it's his house, Brian Albert, let me run in and take a piss, lets the dog out to go to the bathroom, Karen Reed and Officer John O'Keefe pull up. Now Brian Higgins sees him, gets out his Jeep. What's up? What were you saying in the bar? They start fighting. The dog hears them fighting, runs out, jumps on John, starts biting his arm. He falls back and hits his head on the plow. Who knows? Karen takes off because she got scared.
Yeah. So do you think maybe Karen potentially might have actually...
Well, why didn't Karen bring up Higgins' name? Why didn't she tell the police that this happened at the bar? This is all she had to say. Officers, we went out. This is what anybody would have said. Well, I think I can't say that because she didn't say this. But you would think she would say, officers, we went out. She didn't even have to say she was with Brian Higgins. All she had to say was these guys started arguing. I think there was a fight. And he was at this house. Then they would have ran right up in Brian Albert's house.
What about all the alleged, supposed blood on the basement floor, the concrete floor?
Well, that's why we were saying, because every time we were up all night, me and him talk about this case. We'll go on for hours on the phone because we were just trying to figure. And they said, "Oh no, we got to X that out. It couldn't happen because the timestamp said this, and so we got to rewind and think again because we're like thinking in our what we do or situations we've been in. You know what I mean? It's like, or even seen or heard of, and
Sorry, I was going to say, have you watched have you ever heard of Truth Revealed? Sergio, I can't remember his last name. His channel's called Truth Revealed. It's called Empath something, the actual handle. He's basically I think he was DOJ behavioral analysis. and analyst, yikes. And he's done a whole, check his stuff out. It's really interesting, but he has a couple, I think 3 episodes, maybe 2 on Higgins. And he has a theory. He didn't quite get the timeline right, but it's very interesting. Very interesting.
The timeline? He
Well,
broke
he broke down a timeline and based on Higgins' testimony, based on some gaps in that what Higgins and Brian Albert kind of put forward, big bad Brian A.
Yeah.
And very interesting, actually. Check it out, because it goes to your theory. It's that stuff all happened outside that didn't necessarily happen inside. He just got the timing wrong on when they left the bar, when they left the waterfall, which was problematic for me in thinking that his theory had any sort of basis to be fact. So with Higgins and the Jeep, when he says he does the sweep of the driveway before anyone got there, right? But there's no real snow on the ground at that point.
Not yet.
Not yet. So why do you think that he said that? What's the utility of that lie?
I mean, maybe they could have moved John with the plow, because they could have put him, on the plow and drove him. Because if you look, you could pull right up on that grass. Though it's not a curb like we have curbs where I live. They're like this high off the ground.
Mm.
Where they live, you can pull right up on their grass, like on their lawn. And so he could have done that. And then they could have brought John O'Keefe right there and why not just get him help? But they knew that's what I'm saying. And the other thing with the marks on his hands just look like almost like he fell back. It don't look like punches were thrown. They look like
that protection, like getting this and getting punches into his hand.
Yeah, there could have been that, or getting hit with something. Could have been. He could have been, and there was it was definitely not a one-on-one. So they did him dirty. They did him real dirty. They left him there to die, and it's terrible. But my only thing, like, obviously, I'm free Karen Reed. I just don't understand why she, just wasn't more upfront, and I just don't like how, I don't care about her going to Brian Higgins' house, whatever you want to do shit like, but the only thing I thought was a little bit kind of off was her saying, "Oh, you should have stayed at the house that night." I mean, you were gonna hook up with him with the kids in the house, and that's just kind of like, I thought that was kind of.
Do you think that maybe she said that safe in the knowledge that was in the past, and like that it didn't happen, and that she was just like talking big, sort of seeing what because he didn't have much game, old Higgy. So
No, Higgy didn't. He wasn't. He didn't know. I mean, he kind of right away he gave her a nickname, the Weed Whacker.
Yeah, the Weed Whacker. So the thing with the Ford Edge, the Jeep and the plow on the front, I wondered whether, because when people lie, they often, like intentional lies, they often put bits of the truth in there because then they can call on that, obviously, and then, but that's it, the timing might be out. So I always wondered whether maybe that he did come back in the Jeep and he did do a sweep of the driveway, but it was to clear away any footprints and scuffly stuff.
Exactly.
Off there later on. And then someone said, who was it? Paula, there would have been too much DNA would have been outside, except that these clowns didn't collect evidence properly. They blew stuff away with the snowblowers, so
right. There would have been too much DNA outside, but not necessarily. Let me tell you a quick story. Halloween night, I was growing up as a kid with the older kids in the neighborhood, and one of the older kids threw an egg at this guy's car. Well, he was like a little older than them. And so the kid circled back and came around, and he punched him. My man, JFK.
You already know, man. Already know.
And when he threw the punch, the kid fell back and hit his head on the curb and died. So, I mean, and it was ugly. Like the way he looked after just falling back and hitting his head on the curb. That's why when I seen John O'Keefe's, I went back and saw some other photos of his. It's sad to look at those autopsy photos, but I was trying to figure this out, and to see that cut, it reminded me of that scenario. And his eyes, the way they came, because when you fall back like that, your eyeballs get pushed out, or if you get hit in the back of the head real hard. So,
yes, the pressure of the fluid in the brain has have that same effect. I just don't know whether the coupling of whatever was on his hands here was more indicative of something happening in the front. What do you think, JFK? Welcome, JFK's in the house. Woo!
You know how we do it. Ain't nothing to it. What's going on, people? How we feeling?
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I just jumped on here real quick. Just came back from the gym. I'm dying. I'm out here in a hurricane, man. This hurricane's about to hit. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully it doesn't hit, but allegedly it's a hit. Allegedly it's going to hit. Allegedly.
Mm.
We'll see, man. I couldn't get on my computer, man. I don't know what's going on, man. The Wi-Fi out and where I'm at in Atlanta, the Wi-Fi is trash everywhere you go, man. I'm talking about, I mean, it's good to surf the web and, things like that, and maybe watch a movie. But when it comes to like running a streaming service, man, it doesn't matter what type of Wi-Fi you got like out here. It's just trash. And I was just trying to hook up to the Wi-Fi at this hotel I'm staying at, and it's trash. I'm just like, damn, man, it's trash.
Everywhere out there.
Trash.
Yep.
It's like just the way it's set up out here in this with this area that I'm at in Atlanta. It's just trash. I can't believe it. It's frustrating. You know what I mean?
Very frustrating.
Especially when you work with, everything I do is internet related. So it's like, that's why you see me in the car a lot, because the only reason why I could get internet, I got to find the right spot.
He's good.
You know what I mean? I'm telling you, ask James. I go crazy. Everybody's like, yeah, why are you in the car? Get an office. And I'm like, man, I'm out here in Atlanta. Like the studio that I work from, like it's cool, like to, do the music and stuff, but it's not good to stream. Especially, how StreamYard is. It's real touchy. You know what I mean? It's like real touchy when you start streaming and you start playing, sharing things on screens and things like that. But yeah, man, to talk about Hank, as far as we were talking, where the comment that I answered to about them arresting Karen too, there could be something where that Karen, if she pulled off and she did see a fight about to go down and she peeled off, like let's just say he gets everybody in a room. And someone leaks that, oh, Karen was there. She pulled off and he was mad and he threw a glass at the car, or, she left him there, or anything to implicate her, or he interviewed, at this point he can't interview Karen, but he's going to go back and he's going to read all the reports on what Karen said, all the different inconsistencies. And he's going to try to suss that out, and he's going to try to understand why it was so inconsistent. Like why, because that's where the thing is. On our last live, Miss Shorty, I got a lot of backdraft in my comments because people were like, "Yo, you're going against Karen, poor Karen," and it's like, man,
Glenn Lake right now. Stop with the Karen speculation BS. I mean, it's all speculation.
It's not. But here's the thing: this is what people don't understand. This is where we're at. We got a new district attorney that's stepping in. He's not gonna listen to what you guys are saying. He's going to say, if there's a fight, a third-party culprit, then it happened at the bar going to 34 Fairview. The only way he's going to get down to the bottom of that is to figure out the energy, what was going on around it. And if you got to figure out that energy before you even get inside the house. And then he's got to say to himself, okay, is this enough to prosecute her? Listen, the fix is already in. The 3 judges are dropping the case. It's going to manslaughter. So he's charging her with manslaughter, right?
So you do think the SJC is going to
drop that? They're dropping that. Of course they are. There's 3 judges. There's no way, there's no way. Even if one judge don't want to go with it, one of them's going to convince the other judge. Like, nah, that's not right. It's one of them things, man. See, this is what people don't understand. You win cases in the courtroom. I don't care if you wear pink in your sleep. That's not going to change their mind. You know, people are just distorted. This got everybody divided. You can't say one bad thing about Karen. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I'm not talking about Karen in 2024. I'm talking about Karen in the night of January 29th of 2022. Let's be clear. I'm not talking about what Karen's going through now and how much growth she has and how of a warrior she is now. I'm all for Karen. But when you go into the courtroom, they don't care what Karen's doing now. They wouldn't care if Karen had twins in the last 2 years. They wouldn't care. They'll put her in Framingham jail and take her away from her kids. They don't care.
No.
You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm trying to make people understand. Once you go on trial, they talk about the case like it was yesterday.
Yes. Glenn says, you're just guessing. Please talk hard facts. The thing is that in this, we don't, like, what are the hard facts? Like,
there is no, that is hard facts. The hard facts is this, Glenn.
Right.
The hard facts is this. Hank Brennan thinks Whitey Bulger's not a rat. Okay? All right? I keep going over these. This is the thing. Every time we talk about Karen, what do I got to do? A disclaimer every time I mention her name? I got to say, Karen Reed. Oh, by the way, I think she's not guilty, people. Don't jump on my neck. Well, anyway, Karen Reed. Oh, everybody, don't get so mad because I said Karen was shady when she went behind her boyfriend's back and said that she was going to have sex with somebody on the floor of his house at a Patriots game. Don't get mad at me because guess what? That's what she did. That's what happened. Right. And Hank Brennan, the man, the guy that think Whitey ain't a rat is gonna read that, and he's gonna stop piecing together what type of time and energy she was on, and was there a fight, and did that lead to the fight? Did that have anything to do with it to piece this together? So when he goes to talk to Higgins, he's gonna bring that up. He's gonna say, "Hey, listen, Brian, I was reading the texts, right? And Karen was a little loose that night, huh, buddy? So listen, she said that she wanted to do it on the floor." What's the deal with that? Don't you think if Brian, if John O seen that, he would be upset? Did that cause a fight? This is the thing that he's trying to suss out. You guys could talk about tail lights all day. And frankly, let me tell you something, right? Bumping into that car, I don't care what anybody says. My opinion, I don't think bumping into that car cracked that tail light. I don't know. I can't see a Lexus 570 tapping a car, breaks that tail light. Something else happened. I'm trying to think something else happened.
I looked up that Lexus taillight, and I already told you this. There's they made that year taillight in that car, the way it breaks.
Yeah, we know.
It wouldn't break that easy.
That's everybody's.
No, I'm saying I'm agreeing with you. It wouldn't break.
I had a Lexus 470, right? Yeah. No, what was it? Yeah, Lexus 470. She had the 570, but it's the same thing. It's the 4 series, right? It's just a newer model, but it's the same. It's sitting on the same platform, and I had that truck, and I had to get rid of it because my lady friend said she felt like she was in a safari. That's how crazy them trucks are. You could go through anything. People in the desert, they ship them overseas. Like in Australia, they love them. It's the Land Cruiser life. People understand there's a cult of Land Cruisers. You can go online, right? But since Glenn wants hard facts, I'll give him a hard fact. Here's a hard fact there, Glenn, right? Listen, Google F-Series.
You want JFK, you got him.
Listen, Google F-Series Toyota Land Cruiser, which is a LX 570 or a 470, right? Or even an LX 450. It's Land Cruiser is a Lexus 570, 430. I mean 570, 470, or 450, right? They're all Land Cruisers. Google them. There's a cult. You could Google right now a Lexus 470 with 350,000 miles, right? Go on Facebook Marketplace with 350,000 miles, and the market value is still around $10,000 with 350,000 miles on it. All right? So that's how good they're made. Oh, Miss Shorty just jumped. Shorty. So what's your price? Okay, he took over. Okay, this is JFK Shorty.
Hey, what's up, Jay?
This is a hijack of Miss Shorty's post. Now you got us.
Yeah.
This is what's gonna
See
happen
that?
to everybody.
I just swiped
You're gonna-
myself out in excitement.
This is, hey, Shorty, this is what's gonna happen to every platform. We're coming in and taking over.
That's all right. You're welcome. So with the taillight though, what about what seemed to happen in the Sally Port with that shady shit going around the back end of the thing? I think that probably Officer John O'Keefe's shirt was used to wrap around some sort of hammer or something to break out that taillight to shatter it.
That's a very good observation.
Yes.
You know, it is what it is. But see, you know, people can't have their cake and eat it too. It's like perfect example. Like, okay, Brian Higgins said on the stand, I didn't have sex with Karen, but everything out his mouth after that was a lie. Okay, but that wasn't. You can't have your cake and eat it too, people. When she called Jen McCabe up, she said that she didn't remember anything. But Jen McCabe's the biggest liar on the planet. So wait a minute, she was telling the truth when she said that? So I don't understand, and this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what Hank Brennan, he's part of the not fucking around crew. I'm trying to tell you. He's part of the not fucking around crew. He's not going for it. He don't care. He don't care about your social media fame. He cares what goes on in that courtroom. I'll tell you right now, if I had a murder case, I'm calling Hank Brennan.
Yep.
Mediocre Chicken Palm said, why do you call Brennan Beetlejuice?
Why do I call? Because he's amongst the zombies. Okay? The courtroom is a dark, dirty, grimy place. Okay? He's a zombie. He can either be a good zombie or he can be a bad zombie. Say his name 3 times. Hopefully we get the good side of Hank Brennan. So he's just part of the zombies. He's got special powers. He could come in and he could do the right thing, or he could cause total chaos. We don't know. Go ahead, James.
It's showtime too. That's why
he's gonna make a show out of this. He goes in, man. This dude's gonna go in. This is not gonna be no. This guy's not gonna be like, all right, ladies and gentlemen in the jury. She, at 4, she at 12:30, she hit him, backed up, and she left. Dude, he's not doing that. You guys listen. I'm trying to tell you right now. All these people who think Hank Brennan is gonna come in and just play this game. He's not. He's going to look at Karen. So when I start bringing up all these Karen things, like last night in the chat, someone said, what do you think Jen McCabe's secret was to Jen McCabe's secret to Karen was? And I said, well, shit, maybe it was an 8-ball of Coke. They went crazy. They got so mad. Oh, my God. How can you speculate that she was doing an 8-ball of Coke? Well, I don't know. Maybe because she was drinking vodka out of a fucking cup. I don't know. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, this is what people do. They get drunk and they do cocaine. Like, this is factual shit. Like, that's hard facts, Glenn. People get drunk all night. They don't want to be down and crash, so they do coke to stay up. Now, I'm not saying that she was doing coke. Someone asked the question. I said maybe that's what she was insinuating. Maybe she had a couple of Adderalls, Cat. Maybe she had a couple of 20s, James. You know what I mean, Cat? You know what I'm saying? And she was going to get busy. I don't know. But the point of the matter is, we can't. This is what Hank Brennan's doing. He's going into this with the mind of the street mentality of what goes on, how people do prescription drugs, how people get drunk, how people drink and drive, how things get out of hand, how people lie. He's not leaving Karen out of this. He's not going to look at Karen as, oh, well, she didn't know. No, he's going to want to know exactly what she knows. That's all.
Yeah. You know what
Don't
else?
mind me, man. My heart rate's probably at like 140 right now after working out, so I'm hyped the hell up. You know what I mean? You already know, Miss Shorty. I seen a couple of pictures of you. I'm like, God damn, Miss Shorty is ripped up. So you already know how it goes.
Oh man,
James, I was like, James, like one of my 4 years old Facebook profile pictures. I was like, yikes!
I was like,
Shorty had the 6-pack and all that. I'm like, damn, Miss Shorty wasn't playing games, huh?
Yes, she knows
about counting every calorie, man. She was straight carnivore, man. She wasn't eating no carbs.
No, I used to be a competitive bodybuilder for 8 or 9 years. So I competed in Natural Olympia in San Francisco in 2009, but that's a long time ago now.
Sure, you've had
that's all right though, but you did it though. You did it.
Yeah,
you know how it goes.
Good life, man.
You know how it goes after a workout. But Shorty, I'm sorry, I don't want to hijack your
No, you can hijack it. I just Glenn said before, he said he's a member and a subscriber and loves your channel, but he's not buying what you're selling tonight. And you know what, Glenn? That's okay. We're just like
that's fine, but he wants it to be sweet. People want this is what it is, right? and I'm not saying, Glenn, I don't mind. This is what it is. I have no problem with disagreeing and debating. But the thing is, when I start to debate with you, don't play victim when I go in. Don't turn around and be like, yo, man, but how could you say cocaine and this and that? Now you want to debate with me and you want me to go, think outside the box and then all of a sudden play victim and then make Karen the victim. All I'm saying is we don't know what Karen knew. We don't know if she was drunk, blacked out drunk, we don't know that he jumped out the car, she seen Higgins pull up, and then she left him there. Right? We don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows that for a fact.
You saw her in the video at the bar while they were arguing when Higgins was doing this shit and John O'Keefe did the heel toe. She was just sitting there like she didn't
think about that text, man. 11:45 a.m.
No, but what I'm saying is, Jay, she was sitting there like, damn, this is really happening right now. They're about to fight.
That's what I'm saying. Remember, I said, is she naive enough not to know that was going on?
Right.
Was she really thinking in her head that, oh, this is happening in front of my face? Two big pit bulls are fighting each other and
over me.
Texting them.
But to, real quick, before I forget, to get back to Hank, I don't think, you know how Lally objection. I think Hank's gonna let Uncle Al slide with a few things because he's interested to hear what he has to say and go where he's going to go with it. I don't think Hank Brennan's going to be doing a lot of objection. I think he's going to be, okay, let me hear what he has to say.
I'm going to give you the hardest take tonight, okay? I'm going to give you the hardest take that anybody ever did, right? And you guys can take this, screenshot it, man, send it to your friend. You can send it to your little riders out there and try to defend, whatever. You can do whatever you want, right? Have a good time. I don't care. But here's a fact about Karen Reed. Karen Reed, at the end of the day, had the balls to go behind her man's back. Okay, she checked her market value. We get all that.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is a lesson to all you ladies out there that want to be shady and checking your market value. Okay, especially with DEA agents and the police, whether it's whatever it might be.
Yo, hold up. Listen. JF, don't be saying the chat. Don't be saying, Shorty, I'm sorry, but I just don't agree with that.
What's that?
They're saying, what, JFK, where are you? I'll fight you right now. And then people jump.
She's being funny. Look, she's got laughing faces.
I'm talking about someone saying he's in Atlanta. Just like, I don't like.
Oh no, no. If you like, are you safe? Like, she's just worried about you saying these things.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought they were.
Listen to what I'm saying. Here's the hardest take. Here's the hardest take that I'm going to give you. Let me settle down. Let me settle in.
All right, JFK got me. See, we get.
Right. Listen. Let me just settle in. Here's the thing. The reason why I go into the Karen Reed thing, because at the end of the day, we know that Karen Reed, and we know that John O'Keefe knew somewhat about what was going on with Higgins. He knew about that night at the Pats game. He knew there was some funny stuff going on. But did he know that she went behind his back and gave text messages? Did he know that she went to his house? Did he know all that? Did he know the full amount of story? So here's the thing. I totally doubt it, based on being a man, that he knew all of that. Because if he knew all of that, he probably wouldn't have went out that night, right? If he knew that she went behind his back, he went to the house, he was hanging out with her, and he knew, he's seen all them text messages.
He said it to her.
What's it say? From the storm. Sorry,
she was worried that you are not safe in Atlanta.
It's fine. It's fine. So I don't want to bring.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Nick Corruption. I thought you was dropping his location because
we on the live, so we could go off the rails.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So now, did he exactly know all these things? I doubt it. My opinion. That's not factual, Glenn. That's not a hard fact. But dare I say, it's probably factual, right? It's more. I think it's more factual than not. But what I'm saying is, he probably wouldn't have went out that night if he knew that she was acting like that. And she held that in and she didn't say nothing. But here's the thing. I'm not giving Karen Reed a pass because John O'Keefe never got the opportunity to forgive her, to make amends with her. He died. So he died not knowing the truth. He died not knowing what he was walking into. No matter how you look at it. And let me tell you something. You know who's going to look at it that way? I can guarantee you who's going to look at it that way. Hank Brennan, Hank Brennan, Hank Brennan. You know why? Because he thinks Whitey Bulger's not a rat. That's why. He thinks Whitey Bulger's not a rat. And let me tell you why, Shorty. Because in the city of Boston for years, these guys murdered people, buried them, lit them on fire, shot them in the face, raped girls. They did the crazy. They shook down people. Whitey Bulger rigged the fucking lottery and won $2 million on the lottery. He rigged the lottery. The IRS was coming in on him, and he figured out a way to rig the lottery so the IRS couldn't take his shit. This dude played the system in the 70s and the 80s like it was nobody ever did in the city of Boston. In the whole world. Straight mobster. People hate him. He did a lot of dirty things.
Think about it. So they tried it. They label him a rat, right? And he's from Southie. That's the worst thing in Southie you could be. So labeling him a rat, put it out there, you know, so because the feds didn't want to look like, they didn't want to look stupid, that they were getting taken advantage of by Whitey, you know, letting him get away with all that shit.
And the bottom line is this. The bottom line. The bottom line is this. He thinks Whitey Bulger's not a rat. He wanted to put the feds out there. He wanted Whitey to tell the story, even if Whitey was going to incriminate himself and admit where bodies were and admit how he killed people and talk his savagery, you know, how savage he was. He didn't care. He was willing to put him on the stand. He wanted to put Whitey Bulger on the stand, but they didn't want to put him on the stand and agree that he didn't have a card, because every rat informant has a card that says they're a federal informant. He ain't never had one. So he wanted, if he was going to get on the stand and testify, he wanted to tell the whole story. He wanted to say exactly how it happened. And for years, people thought the feds was hiding Whitey. Come to find out, Whitey did exactly how they wasn't expecting it. He went out to California, got a bucket hat, grew a beard, and stayed right under their noses. For like 16, 17 years, they never caught him. The only reason why they caught him, because this chick had some breast augmentation surgery on her thing. I don't know if it was reduction. I don't think she got implants, but I think she got something done with her breast, and they had the records of that. And they found, and the doctor or whatever, and they pinpointed where he was, and they caught him. So they didn't even. So not only that, he wanted to tell the story of how he played the feds, how he hid from the feds. He wanted to tell everybody, you guys think the feds are so slick. I was under their nose. I was the #1 fugitive in America, and they couldn't find me for 17 years. And I was on the beach in Malibu with a bucket hat feeding pigeons. You understand what I'm saying? So this dude, regardless, I know he's a savage. I'm not bigging up Whitey Bulger. He did a lot of horrible things. But the point is, this guy, Hank Brennan, was so committed to just, you know, saying, okay, we know he's horrible. We already know all that, but let's not let the other horrible people get away. And that's what I'm trying to say. If Karen Reed did anything in this, any little thing that she didn't admit to, she's going down too. And you guys might not want to believe it, but Hank Brennan ain't playing games with none of these fools. I'm trying to tell you, just watch it unfold. That's it unfold. Right. And when it unfolds, you guys can come to the JFK channel and all say how my hard facts ain't hard facts. And maybe it won't. I can't tell the future. But based on who he is and the way he's coming into this, I can't see this guy going about it any other way.
And I was telling her earlier, Shorty didn't know how Whitey's brother is. I just saw Chicken Palm say it too. Was a senator. His name was it William Bulger?
Yeah,
he's a senator. So it's like these. I don't know.
Listen, for him to stand up and say that and stand up to the feds, and he worked. You know, he was a prosecutor too. Like this guy's whole reputation. This is what puts. Once you put Hank Brennan on this case, right, you're putting integrity to the case and you're putting a swerve on it, because now you're not even really, you're thinking Karen Reed, but now you're thinking about his integrity. And why would a guy who's against chaos go against Karen Reed? Now, the first thing you're going to do is, based on we know Morrissey, you're going to lash out and say, oh, you know, forget Hank Brennan. He's no good. He's going to come in and try to kill Karen. This is what I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, what Karen Reed did, right, whether you like it or not, right, is that morning, she should have just mentioned Brian Higgins' name and said, I was talking to this dude. I think it was a fight, right? When she went on national TV, she should have said that too. That's just my opinion. And what I'm saying is, speaking on the 2 year, listen, there was two Tupacs, right? There was the Digital Underground Tupac from like 91 to 94. And then there was the Death Row Tupac, right? I'm talking the 2022 Karen Reed, not the 2024 Karen Reed you guys are cheering for. I'm talking about the girl that night. So don't get it twisted. And that's
Right.
what they're looking at. And what I'm saying is I really can't give her a pass like that because John never had a chance to give her a pass. So we want justice for John O'Keefe, right? So I'm giving John justice and letting
Isn't that why
everybody
we're
know
here?
that Karen was shady. That's all.
Yeah, that's how it all started. Was justice for John O'Keefe.
Right? At the end of the day, if Karen would have just was 100 with him and said, "Don't go in that house," I was talking to Higgins because we don't know what Higgins ever told her, man. What if Higgins said, "Listen, man, if he ever gets in my way, I'll shoot him in the face"?
Well,
what
that's
if
why
holding on
he
to
had his phone. That's why I think all those texts that were erased were ones that he
You
might
see
have
what I'm
had with
saying? Oh,
Karen.
Shorty, you name dropped your age earlier. I'm not gonna say it, but you've been around. You're my age. Me and you like the same age. You know how this thing goes. If all I'm saying is, if Hank Brennan looks at it with that state of mind, like, wait a minute, you know what? You knew though what he was getting himself into. So you know what? You can hold that too. I'm telling you, this dude Hank Brennan will figure out a way. You know what I'm saying? He. That's what I'm trying to tell you, and that's what. And Karen wants to come out like clean roses and all this. And I'm not against Karen, but I'm saying she got to watch out for this dude Hank because at the end of the day, her actions that night and going over, because we all want to believe, no, she went over the house and nothing went on. How do we know that? Because you believe Higgins? So you believe Higgins, the same guy who said he left and he didn't do nothing. You believe that guy? Oh, okay. All right. So you believe him, but you don't believe him. You can't have your cake and eat it too. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not putting it out there like hating on Karen. I'm just saying she needs to tell the truth. You know what I mean? Or it could come back and bite her in the butt. That's all I'm saying. Messing with Beetlejuice.
Yep. And the other thing too, Hank Brennan's not going to deal with all the witnesses, the Alberts and their butt dials and all that bullshit. He ain't going to believe that.
He's not going to get on the stand and let you think Hank Brennan's going to let Brian Albert go. I didn't answer the phone, but I could have answered the phone, and I didn't do it, but I did do it, but maybe I didn't, and I was having sex with my wife, and you know what I mean? You think he's going to do that? And I'm doing my due diligence on the Miss Shorty podcast tonight is to try to give credit to Hank Brennan, because if he's watching anywhere and someone's watching and looking at us, I want to say to Hank Brennan that, listen, not every influencer or people that are covering this case is not realistic. I'm being realistic. Like I said, there's two Karen Reeds. There's the Karen Reed right now that probably regrets what happened that night. I'm talking about Karen Reed in that space and time. And that's the Karen Reed that's going to trial. I'm telling y'all, that's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? Because listen, that's why the system's so rigid, right? They do it all the time. Like, let me give you a parallel. A guy gets arrested for selling drugs, right? In 2024. He doesn't go to trial until 2026. But the statute says he's got to do a mandatory 7 to 10 years because of how much drugs he got caught with. But in that 24 months that before he went to trial, he had a baby, he got a job, he got in a union, he started going to church, he went to classes. He became a preacher. He saved an old lady in TJ Maxx. He did all these amazing things. But you know, when he goes to court, they say, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You got these drugs that day you got caught with. The statute reads this, and that's what we're prosecuting you for. There's no saying sorry in the state of Massachusetts. There's no going up to the judge and saying, Your Honor, I'm sorry. There's no doing that shit. You guys are living in 81. That's not happening in 2024. And that's what I'm saying. The people got to be realistic. I'm being as real as I possibly can be. And I'm not saying Karen Reed's guilty. But what I'm saying is if there's anything that she could have did and Hank Brennan sees some stuff, he might turn around and charge everybody. And like I said, that's a hot take and that might be far-fetched, but you just never know.
I think that's a good observation, only because, like you said, the very first thing I would have said, this is what happened, and that's it. Like I told Shorty earlier, from the bar to the house, Hank's going to want to know. Who's he going to want to talk to first? He's going to want to know why Karen, okay, Karen, what happened from this time to that time? That's what he's going to say. What's she going to say? Oh, we were just listening to music. That's it.
So you didn't see the text message when he texted you at 11:30? When he jumped out the car, what was John saying? When John got out the car, he was going, I want to hug Hank. I want to go talk to Higgins. Everything's all good. That's how he was acting, or did he say, "I'm gonna punch this dude's face in"? And you're in the back of your mind, and here's at the end of the day, he's gonna punch that dude's face in because he's protecting Karen. He didn't like the way, you know what I mean? In his mind, he's thinking, "Oh, you text my girl, and you're reaching out to my girl." The thing is, if Karen told him everything, then I forgive Karen. But based on how Karen never wanted to admit Higgins, never wanted to bring that up, I doubt it. I highly doubt it that she told him everything. And I'm saying, if Hank Brennan's looking at everything, that can put her in the mix of a manslaughter case. That's all I'm saying.
So hold on.
In the mix of a manslaughter case real quick, because that's conspiracy. You know shit's going down, and you let it happen. I'm telling you, man. Listen, you guys can go watch Better Row, and he'll tell you all these these things and break down statues and all that. Okay, that's cute, and he knows what he's talking about, no question.
Oh, shots fired.
No. But I'm just saying, he's gonna tell you the law way, but he doesn't have superpowers. He don't have superpowers like Hank.
Shorty said shots.
No, I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is, these guys that are telling you this stuff are going to tell you there's no way that she's going to get convicted by a jury. There's no way that she'll ever get convicted. There's no way the feds are going to come in. Everybody's going to talk all that shit. I'm trying to tell you, there is a way.
Right.
And that's the way. There's a way that it could, because how do you clean it up? Arrest everybody, including her. There's clean up.
There's a lot of innocent people. There's a lot of innocent people in jail. Go ahead, Shorty. You were gonna say something.
Oh, it's probably nothing of any consequence. I was muted before, so that was fun. I think that I don't think. Well, I'd hate to think that Hank Brennan would come in and like arrest everybody. I'd like to think that he'll arrest some people. I'd like to think that he will throw the case. What do you think, JFK? Is he gonna prosecute it, or is he gonna get rid of it?
The fix is already in, man. I'm telling you, they already know what's happening in the Supreme Court. They already know how this works. Listen, I've been down this road. I've been on trial. I done got found not guilty for cases that I was behind walls where dudes thought I was telling on people because I got found not guilty. They're like, "How'd you get fired?" I fought cases to the hoop that people would never fight. I've been there and I've done that. I studied law. I know how this works in the courtroom. It doesn't, all this extra stuff everybody's talking about. And I mean no disrespect to Better Row, but I'm saying that don't matter what he's saying outside the courtroom. It's what happens in the courtroom. And what I'm saying is, if they choose a swerve to charge everybody with it, that's it. They're gonna run with it, and that's what's gonna matter in the courtroom. It's not gonna matter about, well, what about this and what about that? Whatever. Deal with it in the courtroom. And it's a whole different world. You can't even breathe. It's like you're underwater. It don't even matter. I'm telling you, the court is a dark, dark place, man. And what I mean is, when I say they already know the swerve is in, because they know they got 3 judges, and that's a gamble. It's like going to the casino with $50K. You got 50,000. You got a good bankroll. So chances are, if you got 50K and you can hit them, you might lose 20,000 off the rip. But if you keep playing, because you got another 20,000 to spend, you'll probably hit them, get your money back, and make a quick profit. But the question is, are you going to walk away? Now, if you don't walk away, you can lose it all. Now, it's the same thing. It's the 3 judges. They know that no matter what, they're going to it's in their favor based on experience. They know them 3 judges based on how it went down. She never told the jury. She never told them what they dismissed. She messed up. That's a straight clerical court error. So they're going to turn around, they're going to drop that, and they're going to keep the manslaughter on the table. Now, the question is how. I said everything I just said. The question is how Hank Brennan's going to approach this manslaughter case. Is he going to look at it like everybody's involved in it? Everybody fucked up? Like it could have been avoided from everybody? You know what I mean? Maybe he doesn't look at Karen as the victim. And he could. I'm just saying, I'm just going based on Whitey Bulger. He was saying, hey, man, Whitey Bulger was a horrible dude. He murdered people and strangled people. But, hey, the feds did this. I don't think he's going to let Karen off the hook if he looks at it the way I'm saying it. If he's looking at it like, man, this girl's kind of devious, man. You know what I'm saying? Not for nothing. She dropped him off there. She left him there. She didn't tell him. You know what I mean? And like, what if he decides to just charge everybody? Charge Higgins, charge Brian, Jen McCabe, and her. Manslaughter and everybody. Boom, now everybody's happy. I'm just saying that's a possibility. It really is. No matter how you look at it. And people could say, nah, that's no way. Okay, that's cool.
Morna Slocum said, not in Australia. It's not a dark court. Morna, have you ever been to court in Australia? Because I have. And trust me, it's just as fucking dodgy. I've been on charges for theft of a motor vehicle that were ridiculous. And the charges were eventually dismissed, but I couldn't, they said that I couldn't have legal aid because I was indigent. I couldn't afford an attorney. And they said I couldn't have legal aid because there was a conflict of interest. And what do they call it here? Can't remember. Well, basically the prosecutor in my case was
attorney.
Yeah, well, no, it's not. But they were in the pocket of, like, they were working in cahoots with the legal aid, so I couldn't get a defense attorney. In Australia, it is just as dark. It's
Wow.
It's wild times, man.
How long did it take to fight that case? Because I mean, out here they stretch them. They make it.
It was 12 months. Yeah, it was 12 months of being adjourned, which, basically being put off every time. They wanted me to prove that I didn't steal this car. I didn't. I had a personal assistant, and the personal assistant and his lover stole a rental car of mine, left me stranded in Sydney, and I was from Melbourne with just the clothes on my back, and took the rental car on a joyride for 3 months. And I paid the rental fee for about 6 weeks. And anyway, it was all that to say is that eventually they dropped the charges, because the onus isn't on me to prove that I didn't do it. The onus is on the state or whatever to prove that I did. And they were asking me to put up all this proof. I'm like, well, and they ended up dropping it. So anyway,
that's good. Yeah.
And being in jail is no fun. I was in jail incarcerated for 12 hours in total, and that's enough for me. Who just said that? Arlene, nothing like having your show hijacked. Not at all. I know JFK and James. I love a hijack, a good hijacking. I'm down with it.
JFK takes care of his body and face. No
JFK.
disrespect intended. JFK, James, I will take you later.
Talk to you later.
Oh, talk to you later.
Glenn Lake is a good man, and he loves to have a spirited discussion, and he loves you guys. So don't take any offense to what he was saying.
No. I didn't know what he was saying. What he meant by that. He'll talk to me later. I didn't know who he was.
No, Glenn's he's a member of JFK's channel and loves it, and he's looking. He said before, I didn't put it up on screen, but he's looking forward to giving you shit in your chat, JFK, about.
Yeah, me and JFK know how to, we laugh it off.
You're muted, JFK.
You can't hear you.
You're muted.
Hear you. He'll get it.
He'll get it. Whatever it is. In my opinion, Michelle says, in my opinion, Karen was very naive and didn't have the street smarts to see the danger, because she was. Yes, I said that to you guys when I called in, that because the word was naive. That
naive. Yeah, that's what JFK said. That's a very good point. And JFK could actually. JFK, can you
hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
What I'm saying is about Hank, right? Is that why would Hank want to prosecute this case? Why would he even want to go about it? What does he know that we don't know? That's all I'm trying to say. What is already said, like James alluded to it earlier. He's talking to every witness and this and that. Like, how does he make everybody happy? That's all I'm saying. How does it work? How does it go? Like, what's he thinking? What's going to be his swerve? That's all I'm saying. And that's one way to think about it. And I don't want to say, I kind of went in. I don't want to say. I'm saying at the end of the day, he's still got to make the family happy, right? Because Paul don't believe her.
No.
Peggy don't believe her. They don't believe her. So he's got to make everybody happy across the board. So that, I know that might be a crazy way of thinking it, and it might be the craziest swerve of all swerves. But hey, it's either he's going to prosecute her and he's selling his soul, and he went out like a sucker, or he comes in and he figures out a way to charge everybody, or he turns around and he just dismisses the whole shit and it quietly goes away.
Well, Jay,
So as
look
that's one
go
way
ahead,
to
I'm
think
sorry.
about it. No, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, look what he did with Whitey. I mean, he had to tell those families, look, I can't get justice for the murders, but we're gonna go at it a different way. We're gonna get justice by, bringing forth these corrupt federal agents, and they agreed to, okay, let's get justice that way then. If Hank can convince John O'Keefe's brother Paul and his mother that, look, this was done and this was due to corrupt police or law enforcement, then I think if that's how they get justice, that's how they get it.
How does Hank Brennan, right? And how does Hank Brennan get over the fact that she went back to John O'Keefe's house? She jumped at everybody's in the camera staring at that taillight. Right? I'm just saying, I'm going in, Hank. This is where we're at now. Everybody could say, yeah. I mean, if you just crack the taillight a little bit, right? Or you said you bumped into a car, why is everybody staring at the taillight like it was a huge deal in an LX 570 Lexus? I mean, you could take a tire off and drive that thing on the rotors. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You could take all the doors off and that thing still drive. I'm just saying, like, what was the big deal about the tail? Like, how did she describe it? Because obviously her description of how she hit something was a big enough idea to look what she, like, oh, you hit something? That's like saying, Shorty, you're saying, hey, I was driving and a deer jumped in the road and I hit it and it ran into the woods, but I didn't really even see it. It just ran so fast. I'm going to say, yeah, let me look at the damage to your car. Now, if you tell me, yeah, man, I was in the Marshall's parking lot. Well, I don't know what they got down under. I don't know if they got Marshalls down there, but I was in the parking lot, getting some clothes, and I rear-ended a car. I bumped it. I'm not going to be like, well, let me stare at it and make this huge option because you just said you bumped it, like you tapped it, like she tapped that car. She tapped it.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't even know. Listen, like I said, when she tapped it, she didn't do this. It didn't even make her do this. You think when she was in the car, when she tapped that, it went like this? It didn't even move her. It didn't even move her. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, it didn't even move her. In that truck, it didn't even move her. That's all I'm saying, man. And I'm just saying, how is Hank Brennan going to process that? How's he going to process that when he looks at all them facts? How's he going to say, wait a minute, I don't think the tail light got cracked on the car. So there's got to be a swerve somewhere.
But it couldn't have gotten cracked on just his arm out either. That's not science either.
No, so. I don't think it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't think it got cracked on his arm.
I don't think so. I think
something happened when she did that 3-point turn, and she left.
Or on the way home.
Or on the way home, she took a corner and she smashed into something. Because here's the answer. Now, on that LX 570, is it always in all-wheel drive? Now, if it's not, and you got to put it in 4-wheel drive, she's driving in wet snow in rear-wheel drive. So if she's flying around corners in rear-wheel drive, her car's the ass end's going to kick out.
Yeah, but you would think it would kick.
You old school.
Yeah.
You was driving 87 IROCs back in the day. You know how it goes.
Yeah, but Jay, she could that kicks on as soon as that type of weather comes. Those big.
But my LX 470, I had it kicking into 4-wheel drive. That's what I don't know if they kept it old school like that. See, I had an RX 350 Lexus, and it was always an all-wheel drive. Like my Acura, it's always all-wheel drive. It's always 4-wheel drive. But I don't know if that particular Lexus, based on the people who love the Land Cruisers, did they keep it old school to where you have to put it in 4-wheel drive? Because if she had to put it in 4-wheel drive, I doubted that she did being that drunk. Meaning she was driving in rear-wheel drive, and she could have easily took a corner, and that thing could have kicked out, and she could have hit something. And she didn't know what she hit. And that's what she could have told her dad. Like, I don't know, I smashed into something on the way here. And it's like, oh, let me see. But if she said, yeah, I bumped into the car right there. Well, what do you mean you bumped into it? From here to there, I bumped into it. Don't worry about that. I mean, they were looking at that tail like she ran over something bad. That's all I'm saying. How do you get over it if you're Hank Brennan? And let me say it one more time. The same guy who thinks Whitey Bulge is not a rat. I don't think people know how serious that really is. You know what I
They
mean?
don't. I mean, we could say it a million times, and they don't. I mean, people from Boston get it, but I mean, he went on TV and said that. I mean, and
To me,
why
because
does
That's just the swerve. The swerve is something
changing
that
direction,
gives you,
yeah? Changing
say what?
direction, like it's something to
yeah?
change the
Yeah,
direction, like
change
to
direction.
change the course
It's
of the.
like going off course. We're going this way now
We're
instead of
going to where we're going to where Hank Brennan's at. This is where we're at. Hank
yeah.
Brennan. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's saying this. Everybody's saying that. Some people are saying things they shouldn't say, right? And you know what? It is what it is. You can say whatever you want. But what I'm saying is, why would he want to take this case? We're all saying the same thing. Why would a good man want to take this case? So does he know something that we don't know? And that's the swerve.
He
That's
knows
the
what
swerve.
Hey, he knows. I'll tell you one thing. He knows Whitey Bulger isn't a rat.
But that's what I'm saying. This guy don't think, and you got to understand. He also. So let me tell you another case Hank Brennan did. He also defended a court officer inside Lawrence Superior Court and got the girl said he raped her. You know what I'm saying? And he got him found not guilty. He also took that. Remember the auction back in the day, James? The person got ran over in the auction, like a car ran over or something. He took the auction case. Like he did some big cases, and Whitey Bulger was the biggest. So I'm just saying, like, if I was him and I was looking at everything that Cameron Reed, like, okay, because obviously he's got to look at Cameron Reed, right? It's not like he's not going to look at Cameron Reed, and that's what everybody want. You know, like he's going to look at her the way she acted and why she said the things she said. She did say some wild stuff. You know what I mean? She went on national TV and said, "What I think I did is hit him, but I incapacitated him, and in his drunkenness, he fell." Why would you even say that?
Yeah.
She
Why?
didn't do
Why?
favors. She did not do herself any favors with some of the
No.
things she said on those.
Shorty, what do you think about that? I mean, was that wild or what? Why say something like that if it it didn't happen?
I
Boom.
mean,
You know
but
what I
maybe
mean?
she doesn't know. Maybe she doesn't know if she was as fall down drunk as her BAC suggests. I don't know. I think that sometimes we say things and we run our mouths, and I mean, once it's out, you can't put the shit back in the horse, right? So
Yeah, that's true.
You can't put the shit.
This shit. So that,
Oh man, she hit us with the ill one. That's the one right there. I might have to take that as a sound bite.
yeah.
Oh, man, you can't put the shit back in the horse. No, 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 no. Hank Brennan ain't listen.
We're
Okay,
gonna
here's another thing, Shorty. Let me ask you this: when they pulled up to 34 Fairview, and she got out the car and was helping John. Now we all know she's helping John. Why would someone want to help somebody they wanted to kill? That doesn't make any sense. But at the end of the day, why didn't she ever ask what happened to John?
Yeah.
AJ's got a good point here. Women look for ways to blame themselves. Absolutely. We are so that's a pretty good point. Like she,
Who's that? AJ?
AJ.
AJ, guess what? Guess what? Well, no matter how you guys look at it, she got some blame in this. She went out with him. She was talking to Higgins behind the back. It was going on right underneath her nose. And if Hank Brennan thinks that she knew anything, this is what I'm trying to say. If he thinks she knew anything about it, he's going to want to expose that fact. Just like he wanted to expose the feds. He's going to want to expose her too. He's not letting her off if he's thinking like that. I mean, and this is based on, people say these are hard facts, just based on his reputation. He wants all the truth. He doesn't just want it from what he wants, the whole thing. So, like I said, we know what happened. We know Higgins beat him. Higgins and Brian A., they went in the house and shit went down, and we don't know how it happened. But now we need to know if it was prevented, if all this could have been taken care of early on 2 years ago. If Cameron would have just came truthful and said, I was talking to this man, or this happened, or that happened, and why did she hide it?
A lot of shame there too. And also when you put in the context of, remember, like Officer John O'Keefe was no angel either, from what it seems with the ladies. And maybe she didn't want to like call attention to any of that, because there's some shame there for women, and she probably was also thinking about what her, I'm speculating, but her ideas of how Officer John O'Keefe was conducting himself within the relationship. Like, I don't think either of them were saints. It's just that he's not around to defend himself, or not. And Karen maybe said some things she probably shouldn't have, you know.
And that's what we got to keep on front line. He's not here.
Yeah.
And Hank Brennan is representing John O'Keefe. So he's not letting anybody slide. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's not letting anybody slide. And, you know, and that's how he's going to look at it. And that's what I assume. You know, obviously I'm speculating, and this is all entertainment. This is YouTube. You know, when they send the checks in for the monetized money, it comes in as entertainment. Listen, man, this is WWE. I don't know shit. I don't know nothing. This is all fake. I don't know nothing. I'm not defaming nobody. This is all lies. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you. You know what I mean? That this is just my point of view, my POV. And
the other thing is too, sorry to interrupt, JFK, but like if we don't dare say things in life that are like, you know, spitballing is helpful. And if you don't say things because you don't want to offend people, or you don't want to like be perceived the wrong way, then it starts to be that you're censoring yourself. And this is just all, you know, we're just having a chat and throwing out things and see whether anything sticks, really. And if you don't,
I think we all know what happened at this point. Now we just got to say, what does Hank Brennan think? That's it. And I know I keep saying his name, and I keep saying his name. It's where he's at with this. That's what we got to. This is where we're at now. Are we going to get justice for John O'Keefe, or are we going to free Karen Reed? And I don't know if Karen's going to get totally off. That's all I'm saying. I can't see him just totally letting her go. I'm not saying that she won't get found guilty for whatever he tried to charge her with, but I'm just saying I don't know if he's letting her totally off either, because there's a lot of things that she could have brought to the table that he could fancy something up and charge her with something. Absolutely. You know, we all know the fix is in. 3 judges. It's going to get down to the manslaughter. I think it's going to be a lot easier to break down to the jury. Because look, here's the deal. He could arrest all 3 of them dudes, right? He could arrest Higgins and everybody and put them in jail, and they could get arrested and they could get indicted over this shit. And he could still try her with manslaughter. And when she goes to court, his approach to the manslaughter case is a totally different. He could be like, she didn't hit him. We know she didn't hit him, but she didn't say that she had an affair with Higgins, and she didn't say this, and she didn't say that, and she knew all about it the whole time, and she didn't give the information. So her reckless behavior led to a death. Like I'm saying, he could twist this whole shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Everybody hears the old word. Did you hear about Higgins? Did you hear about Albert? They got arrested. They got indicted. They're in jail for murder too. Shit's crazy. Did they drop the case against Karen? No. Nope. They're still getting her with manslaughter too. You know what I mean? It's like, it could easily go that way. That's how the Commonwealth is, man. They don't care. They'll indict a ham sandwich. You know what I mean? They'll push it if they can.
Who was it? Someone said before, Pia said maybe she should take the stand. Maybe she should get on the stand if it goes to trial again.
And there's another thing, and I'm glad that, you know, we're opening up a little bit, because that's another thing. That could be something that he could Hank Brennan could after this goes down, he could say that, like, get that message out to James Jackson. I mean, excuse me, to your uncle, Alan Jackson, right? To Uncle Al.
Let Uncle Al know.
Yeah, and he could let that out to Yannetti, and he could say, listen, if she doesn't take the stand, I'm going to charge her with this. I'm going to push hard on her. If she takes the stand, right, on this case, I won't say what I could say. So it's kind of like, listen, Karen, if you don't get on the stand and just say what the fuck you did, how it went down, then he's going to flip this shit. So, like, this could be another way to get her on the stand, too. Because I'm sure Hank Brennan, he wanted Whitey on the stand. I'm sure he wants Karen on that stand. The question is, how's he going to get her on the stand? How's he going to make two prosecutors, two former prosecutors.
You know how he's going to get her on? He's going to say to her, all right, you didn't do this? Tell us what happened. What happened from the waterfall to the house? Go ahead.
He's going to have all these meetings with Yannetti, And it's not going to be Lally. He's going to have meetings with Yannetti, and that it's superpowers versus superpowers. Like, they're going to talk about it. And like I said, he could say that. He could say, listen, if she gets on the stand, I won't go with the angle that she knew and that she held information on purpose, right? I won't go with that. I'll let her speak her truth, and we'll just leave it at that. But if she doesn't get on the stand, when I go into my summation, I'll make sure I flip it on her and say, hey, she knew this, she knew that. And maybe he got something in her back pocket. So maybe this is a way. We don't know. We'll see. Or maybe he's just a scumbag.
Nah, I can't. You know, we got to have faith. We were talking about this earlier, weren't we, Miss Shorty? Faith. You know, we got to have faith in Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Hank is going to do the right thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry about taking over your show.
No, I love it.
No, Jay, hey, I'm glad you.
It's been amazing, honestly, right? It's been
a lot of people, they love it. I see the chat. They love the three of us.
I mean, I don't know here's the facts as what's Glenn want. The facts is we don't know. The one thing we know for sure is that we don't know. But I keep trying to pull up Hank Brennan content and get an idea of who this guy is.
There's nothing.
How he talks, and how he goes about it. And I try to pull up content of lawyers who worked with him. I also got this lady who inboxed me. She emailed me. She actually worked in the courthouse with him. And she told me all about him. Mm-hmm. And she said, this dude is like a hyena. Like, he goes at necks. Like, think about it. He goes on the stand and tears cops apart. Like, you said this, officer, there's that, like that's what he does. Like, he rips the throats out of the police. I can't see him letting Brian Albert and Higgins, because then he'd be lying, because he knows they're lying. Everybody knows they're lying. It doesn't take a lawyer to see that these guys are lying. And on top of that, you got like the Vegas police. I think if the Vegas cops, if they're watching right now, who knows? Maybe they are. I think if the Vegas police show up at Karen Reed's trial, that's a big statement. You know what I mean? Them two dudes just being outside.
Well, Hank's gonna look at somebody like those guys, and they've been around for years. They're retired. Vegas.
There's nobody outside that courtroom that's a cop.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got the state police out there just making sure everything goes good, but you ain't you got our boy. What do you call it? Sean on the golf is the only dude that's risking it all. And he's bringing the facts, and he's not he's not looking at it the way we're looking at it. He's looking at it like, bring whoever you want. You're never going to find it guilty. And he's right. Like, if that's the way they go about it, if they go at it the same way, the way they went last time, they're never going to find it guilty. But we all know Hank Brennan's not going the same way. You know what I mean? So this is where you got to get creative with it.
I mean, it would be insane of him to come in and try the case the same way as Lally did, which was just atrocious and didn't get the results that a prosecution so I mean, it's only going to be different. I don't know what it's going to look like. Very interesting.
And I'll just say this: if Sean pulls up to that Karen Reed trial with the two Vegas cops, and you got a DEA agent and two ex-Vegas cops sitting outside, right? Court TV is going to cover them. They're going to be all over the internet. They could stream out there. They could talk to the people.
They're gonna have the big bus, Jay. They're gonna have it all set up for them. Yeah, all mic'd up. They're gonna walk in.
I mean, they should do it big. I mean, if I was the Vegas cops, I would get a Sprinter van.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would set up my computer in it, and I'd do a live show outside and let everybody know the Vegas PD's in town. And I'm telling you, I'm just saying, because it makes
that's how we
I'm
do.
saying, if I was a cop.
If you were here, we would be doing that.
But here's the deal: it's paralleling to paralleling to, like, let's just say you're an artist, right? And you're a singer, you're a rapper, you're an actor. You got to show up to where the premieres are at, right? To let everybody know you do it too. So you got to come with something. You got to wrap up a van. You got to let everybody know I'm in the house. I'm telling you, them Vegas police hold more value to this case than a lot of people, because they're cops saying that Brian Albert's a liar. They're sitting there saying, like, if my point
saying
is,
he's a
you don't see nobody on Twitter going at the Vegas cops.
Oh,
Oh,
Nobody
no.
says a word about the Vegas cops. They say shit about me. They say, look at this wannabe rapper, look at him. Da, da, da. They go in on me, but they don't
Probably
say a
going
word
on.
about the Vegas police.
Yep.
So
Because
that's what I'm saying. Because the Vegas police, they got nothing. They don't have no stake in this case whatsoever. They from Las Vegas. They just two cops looking at this saying, wait a minute, this dude's a liar. So if they show up out there, especially if they show up out there looking like, because here's the thing, the Vegas police, I could see them in a mall, and I'll look right at them and go, yo, James, look at the cops. I could tell them dudes are cops from like 5 miles away. You know what I mean? I mean, that's embellishing, but they look like police. So them sitting out there, they don't look like the regular cats, man. They look like the police. So the police are gonna recognize the police are there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that puts a spin on things. That's something to think about.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you know what, guys? Thank you so much for coming on. JFK, thank you for jumping in and bringing some heat and getting some people. I think people were appreciating hearing things from a different perspective. Like, that's what I enjoy about you guys, your channel, is that you don't just say the same old things that everybody's saying about the Karen Read trial, about, putting things out there is the way we, it gets your brain thinking. And that's, it's a really important thing. So you might be controversial in what you're putting out there at some of the time, but like, no one wants to be in an echo chamber, right? And a lot of the channels on this are scared to say a lot of things, and that's a credit to you guys,
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, appreciate that. We got someone from Malden in the house. They said, JFK, Malden misses you.
Yeah. Do they?
Yeah.
I hope the Malden police ain't missing me though.
Right. Seriously.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. I will. Thank you, James. We swerved on this live stream too, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we swerved, and you guys did a great job talking about the grief and getting into it.
Thank you, Jay.
But this is where we're at, though. You know what I mean? Shorty, we're at the Hank Brennan stage, and so we got to liven it up, and we got to run with that.
Absolutely. And I mean, really, Hank Brennan coming in is kind of like almost like JFK coming in and like throwing the heat. JFK and James putting some different ideas out there, looking at this a little differently, and see what we can come up with. Like
don't be surprised of nothing. That's all I'm saying. Don't be surprised. Yeah. That's all. Because at the end of the day, someone's got to go down for this. And how are they going to do it? Is it going to be Karen? Is it going to be the bad guys? Or is it going to be everybody? I don't know. But someone's got to go down.
It's like the end of this Sean song. Anyway, somebody's going down, or something like that. Anyway, somehow somebody's going down.
Shorty, peace and love. I appreciate your time. And everybody out in the chat, I appreciate you guys. And we'll be back, me and James, on the stream, and we'll talk more about it in a calmer manner. I'm sorry I was a little amped up tonight.
It's all right, man.
It's more than all right. You're very entertaining and mentally stimulating. So fantastic. And the chat went off too. So.
Oh, by the way, your hair looks fabulous.
Thank you.
Sure. I couldn't believe when she told me that her age or whatever. I'm like, wow. You look,
Stop it.
She looks great.
Yeah.
You love everybody.
Everybody. We love you.
Thank you. And thank you so much, James. Really appreciate you being so vulnerable. I know I said it before, but chat has been saying amazing show from start to finish. So it's a credit to you also to be able to flip on a dime between what we were talking about. And, you've done amazingly with your journey through the grief process. So amazing.
Thank you.
Lovely. All right. I'll talk to you soon, James.
I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, chat. How about that? Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, sticking with it through thick and thin, through hot and cold. Glenn Lake took his bat and his ball and went home. Lol, just kidding. Thank Thank you. I'm just going through some stuff here. Thank you for the super chats. I think please pass the pepper. Did a couple. What do we got? Let me go through here. Wait. Laurie Life 360 for the win. Shauna sent gifted a membership. Sarah in shock and horror did a couple. What do we got here? We had Lizika. So thank you so much. And there was a bunch more here. Michelle, thank you. Please pass the pepper. Michelle, thank you. Amazing. All right. Well, it's late wherever you are, where most of you are. It's middle of the day here in Australia in the future. I'm going to put us out with an amazing track written by Melissa Asylum, Turd Ferguson, and the video by my beautiful man, Adam Drives Helen. Thank you all for being here. Ernie, Adam, Jess was here for a little while. Kat, Social Chains Warriors. Make sure you subscribe to all those channels. Ernie doesn't have a channel. We'll get there. But yes. All right. Participating in chat was great. It was fire. Amazing. Lunchtime. Yes. Utter. Beautiful. All right. Don't forget to hit the like button. Maybe drop a comment after the stream has ended. That would be fantastic. It helps get this stream out into the algorithm. Share it out on your socials. And yes, Adam is going live tonight, I think, Pia. I'm pretty sure. Yes, subscribe to Adam Drives Helen. Amazing channel. Amazing. Love is love, James. All right. Peace out, y'all. See you over the weekend, Camp Shorty. Plenty happening. I'll be posting it on my community tab. Mwah, love your faces.